The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now, from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here are your hosts of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard and Taylor Welch.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for April 5th, 2026. Happy Easter, everybody. I hope you had a great day. I hope everybody did some fun stuff with the kiddos, or if you're a 53-year-old kid like myself, I had to go find Easter eggs, too, in my house because my wife thought it was a good idea. And let me just say, it was much easier than looking for gift cards in a Christmas tree. Yep. That's happened in this house as well. Alrighty. I am your host, Bob Howard, and she is
Taylor Welch.
And I didn't even announce. This is season 15, episode number 59, and episode number 572 in the long-running podcast that is the Power Play Post Show. Taylor, wow, what a weekend. Black Bears only give up 2 goals between the 2 games. They do score 14 goals in the 2 games, which is great. 9 on Saturday night, and then, of course, 5 on Friday night against the Port Huron Prowlers, which is where we're going to start. And before we get into playing the audio about Chris Paulin, that the things that he said afterwards, let's first. You know what? Let me go back and play this.
The things we did right, number one, we were finishing our hits. I think that's what frustrates them. They're a pretty soft team. Like, they don't want to be pushed around.
After Friday night's game, Taylor, would you assess this team, the Binghamton Black Bears of the 25-26 season, as soft?
I mean, I never would have assessed them as such at any point during the season. But yeah, definitely after Friday's game, it was very intense. It was very the crowd was so into it. Mm-hmm. A lot of scary things happening, a lot of other things happening, a lot of sure. That first period took so long to get through.
Yeah. And
it's we talked about it all day today. I was talking to my brothers about it, and they're not even huge hockey people.
Right.
The middle kid, he's 5 years older than me. And I was because I've gone with my oldest brother to hockey games before, back when the Devils were here. Mm-hmm. And I was walking by him, and he thought I was going to show him something. And I was like, no, I was going to show Jordan because, I'm like, do you even like hockey? He's like, oh, well, I watched it with my one buddy because he's a Minnesota Wild fan. And I was like, all right. So, and I explained it all to him, and he couldn't believe what was happening. And my other brother's an EMT, so I was explaining some of the other stuff that happened on the other side of the, right. At the end of the game. But yeah, just absolutely crazy. And the best part about clipping that audio is that I hope somebody somewhere sends him just the clip of DeRazio laying him out in front of the Prowlers bench, because right. If you want a finished hit, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, again, when I think about the Binghamton Black Bears and I think about being soft or physical or whatever, they don't need to be. They just win games. Right. They play hockey and they win games. They don't have to be a definition of either soft or playing heavy, as what Chris Paulin would say. Playing heavy, which is heavy with your fist, heavy with your hits, heavy with your shoulders, those type of things. They don't need to play that way. And I want to say this out loud before everybody hears anything else. The Port Huron Prowlers had exactly what they got coming to them. The Binghamton Black Bears basically brought the physicality to the Prowlers. And they basically said, we're going to drop the gloves when you want it. We're going to hit you when we have to. And whatever happens, happens. And that's not a statement from Brant Sherwood or anybody on the team. That's from me, Bob Howard, watching this team more than anybody else has in the past 2.5 years. I can tell you right now, they brought you the physicality, not because they had to, but because you had it coming to you. And if you don't like that, you can jump off a short pier. Honestly, you really can. I don't really care. They had this coming to them. They had this coming to them for what they did to the poor kid in Indiana. That's what Parsons did that to that kid. And then Parson goes up and cross-checks a goaltender, and it doesn't get called. We'll get to all this, right? But it's really one of those things. They had it coming to them. I know people don't like to hear that, but that's the truth. Because in hockey, players police the game. The referees don't. The referees can't. And the referees did not control that game. I agree with, I think it was Justin McGregor who said it on one of them. The referees lost control of that game. They 100% did. And then they finally gave, I think, 2 10-minute penalties near the end of the game because they didn't want to get any more out of control that they did. But 100%, in my opinion, Taylor, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the Prowlers brought this on themselves. The way they talked about the Binghamton Black Bears, like with what Reggie said, with what Chris Paulin has said in the past, they brought this onto themselves. And you know what? I don't think anybody on the Binghamton Black Bears is getting suspended from this game. Yeah, sure, there's some beaten up and bruised up guys on the Black Bears bench right now. And maybe there is also on the Port Huron Prowlers bench. But that's just the way it is when, unfortunately, sometimes these games get out of control like that. And big part of it is that Port Huron brought that out. Black Bears don't have to play that game. Am I wrong?
No, I 100% agree with you, which kind of shocking. I don't know, maybe we tend to agree on a lot of things. But yeah, I definitely think they had it coming. They've had it coming all season long with every team that they have faced because they're pretty much, this is how they play every game. They go into it and there's a ton of fights, there's a ton of penalties, and most of the times for the other teams, they come out on top. And so I think it was super fitting for the last game of the regular season against them, the series ending, that the Black Bears came out and played their style of hockey because, apparently they're too soft in Binghamton. Yeah. And they came out firing, played their style of hockey, and they could not keep up. Now, aside from what happened to Blake Anderson and Gavin Yates, which was, in my opinion, no foul play on either team. It was just freak accidents that happen on the ice sometimes. Sure. Take those two things out of the equation. That's exactly what Port Huron deserved. And Jamie Bussell is probably, having some beers and having a great time and celebrating his 2-fight win because he's so proud that he won the 2 fights that he had because he dropped the gloves with Jesse Anderson, and I don't even remember who else he dropped the gloves with. But at the end of he's coming off the ice all proud and happy and all, and just you guys are losing 5-1.
And you lost 7 out of 8 games against the Black Bears. What are you so proud of? Because you won 2 fights? Jamie, I'm telling you right now, if your attitude was better in Binghamton, you might have 2 championships under your belt, but you don't. Think about that for a second. Think about that second. For your little number 2, that's for 2 missed chances at championships. That's what that's all about, Jamie.
Yeah, seriously. I think about it all the time that he rags on Binghamton so much, and yet as soon as we let Skinner go, he picks him up.
Oh,
as
Paulin?
Soon, that he picked up Bussell. He's picked up other, but then you're going to sit here and just rag on Binghamton and now how horrible they are, or how bad they are at this, or our revolving door of goalies. Are you kidding me?
Okay, let's get to that. Let's start off. We've got 6 clips here to play for you, and then we'll react to each one. Now, this was the Chris Paulin's after game report with Will Wiggleman. Will, you do a great job. Thank you for this. This is like the best material you could give a sports talk show is this material. So here we go.
Well, I think they did a good job. Their PK is they're pretty quick to close. They have good stick detail. They did a nice job. I think this group and the guys we have, they haven't been together a long time. Maybe just a hair off. I thought they did a lot of good things, had a lot of good looks. Their goalie, he played well. He made some really good saves, like he's done all season for them. So he's made some really good saves. And then I like the look we got in the first period. We're really good. I mean, they'll give you the shot lane, right? So you take it. And I think Bobby got a stick on it. So it was a great play there in the first period.
Now, I just want to say that's a great assessment, right? Tomei has had a great season. He's played well. And I do think Bobby Price had a great play on getting that 1 goal for them. So we start off on a positive note. I think Chris Paulin was pretty dead on here.
You notice that every time he does one of these, one of his excuses, if that's what you want to call it, is, well, these guys haven't been together very long. Yes. It's always his go-to word. It's always a go-to phrase that he goes to. And it still cracks me up that he starts to like talk about our PK, and then it's like he's almost like he's choking and like he's gonna throw up trying to say that it's good. So he's got to like hype up his own team and not talk about our PK.
Well, it's kind of funny too, because I think what you're trying to say is it almost sounds like he's about to say that our PK is number 1 in the league, and he kind of like chokes. He kind of chokes, doesn't want to say that, so he moves on from there, or says that we're quick to close down, right? Which is good. So let's hear the next part. The next part is about Blake Anderson, and so let's hear his assessment of what happened here.
Do you have any update on Blake Anderson, who went out after that hit that led to that first power play?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, it's I think it was maybe 4 or 5 minutes into the game. He's that's a 2-minute penalty, I guess. So he targets the head. I think the referee said it was an accident. If I accidentally swing my stick and clock someone in the face, they're going to call that as a penalty. So I was confused by that. I mean, the officials have a really hard job. But yeah, I mean, they wanted to send a message, Binghamton. They wanted to send a message that they can play heavy, they can play hard. And they caught just an unbelievable kid and somebody who's worked his ass off all season. They caught him in a vulnerable spot. Obviously, I like the response by Buck. I mean, the guy who hit him, I don't think came back, and he probably won't without a bubble the rest of the year. But yeah, I really like the response there. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough one for Ando, and our prayers are for him right now.
So he thinks that Jesse Anderson is a kid, number 1. Number 2, and he played with Jesse Anderson, so shows what Chris Paulin is, how he's thinking after these games. He's basically talking smack like he's on WWE SmackDown. And the other thing I find very interesting is that he compares what he did to using a stick as a weapon, right? And that yet his defenseman, Brian Parsons, goes and does that to Dominic Tomei a little bit later on in the game.
Yeah, I know we talk about this later on in the show when we kind of get to that point when this happens in the game, which, I mean, it does happen very early. I think it's under 5 minutes in the game. I watched it back several times during the game because, we had a pretty long break right there. And watching it back, you see that Stefan comes in and kind of pushes him, which is creating the momentum. And then our Jesse Anderson's coming in and lays the hit. But when you watch him hit, it's shoulder. I see his shoulder. He doesn't hit his head, and his helmet comes off, that's the part that when he hits the ice and the way he hits, that's the bad part.
Yeah.
What Jesse did wasn't
egregious,
in my opinion, an illegal check to the head or anything over the line of trying to, intent to injure type of stuff that he's very mad about it. Jesse did get a penalty, right?
Yeah. And then he had to
outside of the 5 minute for fighting after the fact.
Right. So
the penalty was still assessed. He's just upset that it wasn't a larger penalty, but they reviewed it.
Yeah.
They looked at it. They watched it back and they reviewed it, and the refs said that it was an accident. And that's exactly how it looked.
Yeah. And the thing is here, Taylor, is they called a major penalty on the ice. When they call a major penalty on the ice, it gives them the ability to then go in and review it to make sure that they got it right. And that's what they did there. They called a major or a match penalty, right? Because it was so crazy, right? Blake goes down. He's down. He's out for 30 to 40 seconds. I watched it. I was down in the window well, and he's right in front of me, and I can literally see, or the door well, for to get into the to your seats and everything, because that's where I was shooting. And he was out. His eyes were closed. This was a scary, horrible incident. But then I went upstairs to where all the camera guys were filming the sports reporters, right, from Channel 12 and Channel 34 and Fox 40. And we reviewed it. We watched it over and over again, probably 5, 6, 7 times, right? And it's crazy, but literally the way you explained it, the way I've explained it online is exactly that. But it was a crazy incident, and that was his opinion on it. Let's go to the next clip.
You also had the coaches' challenges 2-1. They scored to make it 3-1. What'd you see on that coaches' challenge?
Well, their guy hit our goalie. That was a point of emphasis for them again. I mean, their coach was bragging about it the last time we played. I implored the league to kind of just look into it. But yeah, they hit our goalie. It was the most obvious no goal of all time, so it was an easy challenge.
Do you know where Brant Sherwood was bragging about hitting Reed Cooper? or Sargis was bragging about hitting Reed Cooper? Or
I definitely don't. And the crazy, I mean, I do understand that it was a home game. So, a lot of people like Brand at home. But usually if Brand's doing something wrong, there is video evidence everywhere.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know.
But it sounds like to me he thought that Brandt was bragging about it like maybe on the Tully show or something. I don't remember that. And I've watched every Tully show I've watched every Tully show this year. I don't remember Brandt bragging about it. I think Brandt needs to reach out to Chris Paulin and ask him, when did I brag about this? I'd really like to know, because that's insane. I think that's just an old goalie, Chris Paulin, because he was a goalie when he played, just upset that seeing a goalie get hit. And again, I'm not saying that it was good that any of the goalies got hit or whatever, but that's just that. So the funniest part of his clip is, and I didn't even clip this whole statement, I just wanted this one little part, because this is the difference between the Binghamton Black Bears and the Port Huron Prowlers. And I'm going to let Taylor comment after this clip.
What's the message to the group after a game like that? This is the last time you see these guys in the regular season.
Yeah, nothing's changed with our group about results orientation. We don't get focused or fixated on results.
Yeah, clearly, that's all I can say is clearly you're not fixated on results, because they did absolutely nothing during the game to try to change any of it. They knew, obviously, right early in the game that Binghamton was obviously going to play this way. They were going to play Port Huron style of hockey. This was Port Huron's chance to go out there and play hockey, and that's exactly what they didn't do.
Yeah. They needed a win against Binghamton. I'm sorry, but I'll forget about the fights for a second. The 4 fights in the game, the 2 crazy hits where Gavin Yates gets injured, and, of course, Blake Anderson, which we hope both players get on the ice as quickly as possible after 2 very scary moments. Forget about the fights. Forget about those 2 crazy moments. Forget about D-Raz basically sending, Reggie Millette into the boards and just, like, hey, we're soft. We're soft. Forget about all that for a second. You scored 1 goal. You did not score 6 goals and beat the Black Bears 6-5. There is no results within your season against the Binghamton Black Bears that shows that you can hang with them at all. On a high, you brought in 2 D1 college kids. You put them with another D1 college kid, and guess what? You still couldn't beat the Black Bears. Really? Results?
The funniest part about that is I remember when you saw that they had signed them, you were like, these are going to be 2 guys to watch out for.
Yes, I did.
And then I was watching them on the ice with Port Huron and watching them look at what the Black Bears were doing compared to what Port Huron was doing. They looked like lost puppies out there.
Yeah. Because
Port Huron does not have the ability to keep up with Binghamton. And these poor D1 guys are out there and they're like, what the fuck? Like, they have nothing to keep up with these guys, and they're looking around at the Prowlers, and they seriously, they looked so lost. And I remember at one point I made a comment to Jeremy, and I was like, they have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
Like they're trying out there, like they're out there, and Binghamton is just walking over them, and they look like they're looking around at their other teammates like, I don't know what to do. And it seriously showed.
Yeah.
But this was Port Huron's probably one only chance they had to come into Binghamton and just play hockey, because Binghamton was going to let them do that, because obviously they were going to play Port Huron style of hockey.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They definitely screwed themselves. They obviously only cared about getting their 2-fight win, according to Jamie Bussell. And Paulin's obviously not too worried about the results, even though if they get through Blue Ridge and we get through the first round, we're going to have to face each other again. And you're not worried about the results? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This is where you should have clipped what Coach Q had said about this upcoming Friday game and compared it to what Paulin said after the game. That's the difference between these teams. This is why Binghamton is a championship team and Port Huron isn't.
Very good.
There was a lot in this game that I liked. I think we have set ourselves up pretty nicely here down the stretch, and only time will tell that. But I really like where the group's at. We talked again about response to some of the egregious things they did. Obviously, Coop isn't with us on the trip. So he's, from the last time Sarge just put his shoulder into Coop's head. And then, we're going to evaluate Bailey, but he couldn't finish the game either. So, I think obviously, that team, they can say what they want, but they're based on their actions, which I always say actions speak loudest, right? I don't think they have a ton of confidence in their goaltending situation with the revolving door they've had there. Just a shame for Temej. He's played he's had an unbelievable season. He played really well again tonight, and I think he finally let in a goal, I guess, but I think he had 3 shutties in a row, and they've had a revolving door trying to find somebody to replace him. So obviously taking deliberate runs at our goal, or more than one, our goalies. So I guess they don't want to see any goalies in the playoffs if we have to meet them. It's a strategy, but yeah, I think we're very confident in our goalies, and it seems like they're probably not, but I think we're in a good spot here going down the stretch.
I hope that Matt Graham, who I think does pipe in every once in a while and listen to the show, tells Chris Paulin this, because I'm going to read some numbers to you, right? Temej has played in 30 of our 54 games, He's got 27 wins, 2 losses, and 1 overtime loss. He has a 1.86 goals against average, the best in the league. He's got a .930 save percentage, best in the league. He's got 7 shutouts, best in the league. Connor McAnanama, on the other hand, has played in 15 games for the Binghamton Black Bears. So if you think about that, that's 30 games. That's 45 games our 2 goaltenders have played in. Okay, he's 13-2. He's got a 2.38 goals against average, top 5 in the league. He's got a .909 save percentage. He's got a shutout in this league. He is a 2-time defending Commissioner's Cup champion. How do you say that we're concerned about our goaltending? Connor came back after going up to the SP and trying to make it up into the ECHL. We have Temej. Brandon Shantz scored a shutout in his first game ever as a pro. Chris, you never did that. Sorry, Chris. You didn't do that, did you? I don't think you did, right? He's got a save percentage of 1,000. Yeah, that's Brandon Shantz. That's the guy. So we're worried about our goaltending, right? We have CJ Hapward, who's scored 4 wins in his first 4 games for the Black Bears a couple years ago. Yeah. You know what? You're right. I am a little concerned about goaltending for Binghamton. I'm concerned that it's going to be so good that they're going to have another 4 shutouts in the freaking playoffs like they did last year. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes it sound like, Paulin's the one on the ice and he got his head knocked in a little bit too much, because nothing that he says makes any sense except maybe to him, because I truly don't understand how you can sit here and look at the 2 goalies that we have after you just said Temej has played phenomenal all season for them.
Oh, yeah, that's why.
And then Connor McAnanama, who you faced in the playoffs last season.
And was shut out twice, too.
And you're going to sit here and say that, because Connor went to the SPHL for a chunk of this season, that we have a revolving door here that we're trying to replace Temej, apparently.
Temej. Not Temej, but Temej.
Yeah, Temej.
Yeah.
That was I love when he says names sometimes. But, and the revolving door thing, is that just because we had a couple extra goalies at one point? Because that's not anything new. Brant brings in, usually when we do the college signings, usually at least one of them, is a goalie.
Yeah. Well,
it's not anything new that happens.
But we're concerned. We're very concerned right now, and I'm concerned for the league, right? Because if the Black Bears continue to bring in a revolving rotation of goalies and keep shutting people out with them, right? I mean, that's bad for the league. I don't know. We're concerned. We're very concerned.
If our revolving door is so bad, then why'd you pick up a goalie we released? It would be my question.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's get to that. Very good.
We were
good
so
tie-in.
Concerned about you guys picking up Skinner. Why?
Yeah, let's roll that clip too, because that's the last one we have.
One of those goalies that's been in and out of Binghamton, Dyson Skinner, someone you guys claimed earlier today off of waivers. Does his presence become that much more important with what you mentioned about Huber not being able to finish the game?
Skinner's an excellent goalie. We've had our eye on him for years. Interesting. I don't think, without saying a lot, I don't think Binghamton wanted him to land in Port Huron. Again, I think their goal is for us to have no goalie, 0 goalies. If we play them, they're seem to be very worried about that. But no, Skins is a hell of a goalie. He's a great guy. He has some fire. He has some fire in him right now, like a lot of us. And in my experience, when you have a little fire after you've been wronged and slighted, can be very advantageous. I'm very excited for him.
Oh, I'm excited for him too. I mean, you get to go over to one of the best teams in the league who likes to fight and doesn't really do much to help protect their goaltenders. But hey, good for you, Skins. All right. Enjoy yourself. Have a great time in Port Huron. Listen, I hope he gets into a game. And I please, are you kidding me? Are you really, this, to me, I didn't see that. I think you told me to go watch the clip, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I hadn't seen
100%.
it. Yep. And you told me to go listen to it because that was the most comical thing I've ever seen. I got to be honest with you. I'm gonna send a message to Port Huron Prowlers and Matt Graham. Matt, I think you need to have a talk with your associate head coach and basically tell him to stick to just talking about your team and your game. Because when you talk about other people's games and other teams, he sounds like an idiot. He really does. Now, before I thought he was just trying to live up to the WWE style of doing these kind of interviews, but he does sound like an idiot, right? Confused about our goaltending situation. Are you kidding me? Skinner was horrible in the second game he played for us. We released him. Okay, fine. Yeah, sure. It didn't show up on the transactions page until Friday. And then apparently Columbus picked him up. He went to Columbus. Okay. And then apparently you guys decided to pick him up after Columbus had picked him up and you guys waited. My guess is this was a trick to just get Skinner into the locker room so you could talk to him about the Black Bears, because you thought a week and a half with the Black Bears gave Skinner the ability to be a genius and he could reveal all the secrets so you could beat him. No. You guys want to play games? Fine. You can play games, but unfortunately, you should probably play hockey games more than playing games like that because you look like idiots. So, Matt Graham, I'm just saying this to you right now. He might be a nice guy. He might be your friend. He might be your brother. You guys have gone to war together. I don't doubt that at all. But he sounds like a friggin' idiot when he talks because he doesn't know what he's talking about. And guess what? When you guys either make it out, listen, Blue Ridge and Port Huron might be an entertaining series. It really, really might. And Binghamton and Topeka, they need to get through their travel issues because both teams are going to have to travel a very long distance on a plane, more than likely. But I hope you guys get through Blue Ridge. I really do. I really do, because I really cannot wait until the Black Bears embarrass you guys again, because you guys have given us no reason to not think that if we meet you guys in the playoffs, that we can't beat you. You have given us nothing. There is nothing on the table this season in 8 games that makes me think, oh, yeah, I think Port Huron can win. They were better last year than they are this year.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. You know, they had a couple players last year that they obviously don't have this time around, and they've had players from last season that they still have around, and that kind of tells you something. If it's, I guess to them, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I guess they don't see anything that's wrong because, again, they're not focused on, you know,
hockey,
the score at the end of the game. So it doesn't matter to them.
Oh, results don't matter.
And to kind of jump back on the whole goalie thing, when was Skinner in and out of Binghamton? Like, that's what I would like to know.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
Was he here more than once and nobody knew about it? Or, you know, that part baffles me. And then to say that we didn't want him in Port Huron and you've had your eyes on him for years. Well, then why didn't you make a trade for him years ago?
Yeah.
Why didn't you try to claim him earlier? Why didn't you do what Brant did and call down to Twin City and say, hey, can we make a trade to get Skinner?
Yeah.
You never did that. But all of a sudden, because he's released from Binghamton, you've had your sights set on him for years, and he's such a great goalie. I wasn't that impressed when I looked at his numbers to begin with when Binghamton brought him in. I wasn't. And again, you can't always look at their numbers, especially if they don't play a ton of games, that kind of stuff. And so you can't always compare goalies to their numbers unless it just, again, blows my mind. He just absolutely cracks me up with what he says. I don't know how you can go into a game like that. And again, this comes back to what Coach Q said when you're doing the interview with him. Yeah. They were looking at this as a playoff game, which is kind of why when they came out and they were doing the stuff that they were doing, I was a little bit taken back.
Yeah.
Because we don't expect the Black Bears to play that way. And, you know, Coach Q was very much, this is a playoff game to us. We're treating this as a playoff game. It means a lot to us. We're coming into this with everything we have.
Yep.
Well, they certainly did. And I guess Port Huron just doesn't care.
Or just
the end of the season doesn't matter to them.
Or just doesn't have the ability to beat Binghamton on every single level. right? Jamie Bussell might have won 2 fights. All right, fine. I'll give him that. But that's it. That's all you won the whole night. That's all you won. You can't even walk out of our arena with pride because you got your asses handed to you in every single way. You even got a kid like Cameron Savone to fight, right? I mean, like, come on, guys. And I don't know. It's just crazy. All right. Let's start the real show now. The Power Play Post Show is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on your favorite app, and don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook. Search the Power Play Post Show and become part of our community. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey? Visit binghamtonhockey.net, your go-to source for stats, history, and all things Binghamton Hockey. And coming up on this really big, long edition of the Power Play Post Show, which I know EJ Worth will be very happy about because he's got such a long drive to get to Binghamton every day. Binghamton Black Bears color commentator, errand guy, does everything behind the scenes that he's asked to do. Cole Parenti will be on the show. We'll talk about his last few years with the Binghamton Black Bears, 5 years actually with the Black Bears. And then, of course, his move now to go down to Mid-South to run Andreas Johansson's media side of that and do the broadcasting down there, which would be very cool for him. And then we have Binghamton Hockey Hall of Famer Jerry D'Amigo on the show as well, who was inducted on Friday night as well, which is great.
Power Play Post Show fans, do us a quick favor. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode of the show. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you're following the podcast and leave us a rating. It's completely free to do. It takes 2 seconds, and it tells YouTube and Spotify to push the show out to more Binghamton Black Bear fans and more hockey fans just like you. Drop a comment, too. We read them, and we love hearing from you.
What's the message to the group after a game like that? This is the last time you see these guys in the regular season.
Yeah, nothing's changed with our group about results orientation. We don't get focused or fixated on results.
With that being said, Taylor, let's go into the first period of Friday night's game.
I don't know how you're a coach and you can say that. That's wild. Like, could you imagine, like, Q or Brant ever trying to say that sentence?
I don't know. I don't know.
Man.
Oh, I almost
how do you have a professional hockey team and you're like, oh, yeah, we're not focused on the results? What? How on earth have they made it to be the second team in the Empire? Like, how?
Because they beat people up. They beat people up. Let's be honest. They're hard and heavy. That's what they want to do. And then they're going to beat you into a pulp, and then they're going to have a few guys that can score some goals. That's really what it comes down to.
All right. Well, Black Bears win a spirited, very feisty regular season series versus the Prowlers 5-1, April 3rd, 2026, Visions Veterans Memorial Arena, Game 53 of the season, Port Huron Prowlers at Binghamton Black Bears. The opening period, I almost messed it up twice, featured a little bit of everything, special teams, physicality, and a scary moment that set the tone early. Just 4:02 into the game, play was halted following a heavy collision involving Port Huron's Blake Anderson. After being pushed by Kyle Steffen, Anderson was driven into an oncoming Jesse Anderson, resulting in a high hit that sent the Prowlers forward hard to the ice. Anderson remained down for an extended stretch in a frightening scene before eventually being attended to. After an on-ice review, what was initially assessed as a major penalty was reduced to a 2-minute minor for illegal check to the head. Port Huron capitalized on the ensuing power play as Bobby Price buried his opportunity at the 5:02 mark to give the Prowlers a early 1-0 lead. Austin Federley and Ryan Alexander picked up the assist. The Black Bears answered quickly with Nicholas Favreau in the box for holding. Tyson Kirkby netted his 21st goal of the season on the power play at 7:21, finishing off a setup from Ivan Bondarenko and CJ Stubbs to even the game at 1. Tempers flared shortly after with Jesse Anderson and Jamie Bussell dropping the gloves at 6:11, each receiving a 5-minute fighting majors as the physical tone continued to build. Both teams traded chances through the remainder of the period, with Binghamton holding a slight edge in shots on goal with 11-10. Dominic Tomei and Bailey Huber were sharp in net after the early goals, keeping things locked at 1-1 heading into the intermission.
Okay, so scratches in this game was Matt York, Mason Hohen, Sam Holy, Tyler Schwind, Chicho Lathan, CJ Hapward, and Brandon Chance. Starters in this game was Ivan Bondarenko, CJ Stubbs, Mac Jansen, Austin DeRazio, Dan Stone, and Dominic Tomei. Now, I don't want to read all of my note when it came to what happened with Blake Anderson. Listen, really what it comes down to is we don't want anyone to get hurt like that. Him or Gavin Yates, what happened on the ice, and what we saw, you don't ever want to see that. I don't think any of the Port Huron Prowlers wanted to see what happened to Gavin Yates, and the same goes with obviously, Blake Anderson. It's a scary incident. I know Jesse Anderson and Kyle Steffen really well. Neither of them are dirty players and never would want to injure anyone on any other team. I want to make that perfectly clear. I might say the hit was a little high, right? But I think it was. But I think circumstances created that high hit, okay? And I think I understand that the league might still review it, okay? I understand that the league could suspend Jesse for the hit. I don't think they will, but they could. I understand that they could. And all I hope is for Blake that gets back on the ice soon. This rivalry is not important enough for players to be injured or intentional or not, period. I want to make that perfectly clear. If I didn't say that in the beginning of the show, that's because I was animated. I want to give you that 30 minutes of what it might sound like if you were watching us on YouTube, because that's that 30 minutes right there. That 30 minutes right there is a YouTube show right there. And so, Taylor, your last thoughts on this incident.
Yeah, it's definitely something you never want to see on the ice, but it's definitely one of those things that it happens. And, it doesn't matter who, when, where, what. Right. It's not something you ever want to see. And from what I've seen, there's been quite a few posts about, how he's doing and stuff. And it looks like he's going to be okay. So that's, good. The good side of it. And, everything that I've seen is, Binghamton keeps sharing the posts about him or talking about him and just kind of wishing the well recoveries. Yeah. And that's what you expect from hockey. That's what the hockey community is like. Everybody comes together. Yeah. You don't want to see players getting hurt. You never want anything like that to happen. I actually had one of the Redcoats reach out to me and say, they were talking to some of the players down there, and he has issues with lights in general. He's epileptic. I can't even say the word. Epileptic. Yes. And he had reached out to me and asked if I had seen anything. So I went and tried to find anything that I could and sent him everything that I was finding. Because even he was worried about him and all that kind of stuff. So, definitely everybody was thinking about him. Everyone's wishing that he's okay. And I'm sure the same goes out for Gavin Yates as well. I'm sure 100%. Nobody wants anything to happen to him, or, hopefully he can get out there as quick and safely as possible.
Absolutely. Now, then after Jesse Anderson served his, illegal check to the head penalty, he came out and answered the call. That's because that's what real hockey players do. And he did that with Jamie Bussell. It was a spirited fight. Bussell, in my opinion, does get the win, but Jesse held his own during the fight. And honestly, that's where it needs to end. An incident happens. A player gets injured. You want to stick up for your teammate. Absolutely, 100%. I have no problem with that. And Jesse answered the bell. He dropped the gloves. Jesse Anderson is a man, and he's going to do the right thing. No, I'm just being honest about that.
No, it's just the way you said a man. It's just...
No, because when you call us soft, we're the ones answering the bell after a crazy incident like that. And the guy who did it answered the bell. That's because he's a man. That's because he's a hockey player. He's a true hockey player through and through. And I am proud of Jesse Anderson 100%. And I told him that after the game. I made sure I saw him. I asked him how he was doing. I know exactly what his condition is after the game, and I'm not going to, talk about that because it's not good to talk about those type of things, injuries or whatever it might be, or conditions of players after games. But I did go up and I did talk to him. He was in great spirits, right, Taylor? You remember seeing him. He was in good spirits.
Yeah, I mean, you started talking to him, and you kind of a bunch of people were, at that point, asking him how he was doing and that kind of stuff. And he literally, he just turns and he shrugs and he's like, "It happens," and he's unfazed. Right. So it's one of those things. It's a hockey thing. It truly is nothing more than a hockey thing. You leave the ice and at this point, you hope that's the end of that whole issue. They fought, they took care of it. Bussell got the win. So I think with Bussell kind of getting that last, good punch in on Jesse where that kind of ended it. I think if that didn't happen, if maybe, Jesse got the takedown or the win for that, I think it might have gotten a little more heated for that instance. I think it would have continued. That's just my opinion, but Bussell got it and he was very proud that he was the one that got it. So
yeah, no.
I don't blame either player for doing that. I know that's kind of Jamie's role for that team. You definitely can't knock either player for doing that. It's definitely, that's what old hockey was. And I think we talked about it like for most of the game it really felt like old style hockey was happening in Binghamton.
It was. All right. The Prowlers scored on the power play. It did look like to me was interfered with. That's what I said initially when I saw it. That's why I wrote it down this way before the shot was let loose. But at that point, if you take it away, who knows how the game would have played out. Now, when I talked to Tomei after the game, and I said, hey, listen, only one goal. This is great. You had a great run. I said it was like 225, 50, something like that in minutes. He goes, they interfered with me. It's like that goal should never have happened. I mean, he was thinking about that. He couldn't even think about the positive, about winning another game, all that stuff. No. Results driven, Chris Paulin. That's what our goaltender that supposedly we don't have confidence in is talking about. Man, you guys... stop talking about stuff you don't know anything about. That's my thought process on this. And by the way, before I forget, Tyler Knight, who is a Binghamton Black Bears fan, that video that you made, dude, I hope you hear this. I truly believe it. That was the funniest thing I ever saw. And if you did not post that in the uncensored page so other people could see it, especially Port Huron Prowlers fans, who I think would think it's very funny as well, because some of them are not happy with Chris Paulin and his comments. There was a message you sent me, right, Taylor, where some Prowlers fans were actually like, really, Chris? Really? And I mean, even they're not happy with what's going on in Port Huron. So you know what? That's the funny part about this, right? Even the Port Huron fans are not happy with the way this season's gone. And they're in second place. So think about that. Maybe you guys should play a little bit more hockey and less running your mouths. I don't know. But what do I know? I'm soft. I'm soft. You're soft.
I saw it last night as I was going to bed. It was like midnight and it popped up and I was watching it and I was dying. And then I turned and I had to restart it to show Jeremy. And I was laughing so hard that I had to watch it a couple times to see the things that I was missing because I was laughing so hard. And then I remember I messaged you today about it to see if you had seen it. And you said no. And I was like, you have to go watch it. It's so good. It's so funny. It truly just. And
Tyler, the best part, Tyler, is that you start off with Michael Jordan being the dominator, which is Dominic Tomei, and saying, well, this is personal now. I love it. It was great. That was just absolutely insanely funny. I just wanted to throw that out there because that was just really well done. The Black Bears power play gets the game knotted back up at 1. So they got a power play goal. We got a power play goal. Very feisty and dangerous first period. Austin Durazio, a big hit near the players' bench that created his scrum as well, and that was the big hit on Reggie Millette. So, Reggie, are we really soft? Come on. I got to let this go at some point, but you guys keep bringing it up. You guys keep talking about us. We got to talk about you a little bit. Sorry, but here it is.
I'm definitely. I'm glad that it was Durazio. I mean,
me too.
We haven't. It was like a great. I watched. I normally miss the good hits like that because Jeremy's usually watching those, and he's always like, "You got to write that down. You got to write that down. You got to put that in your notes. You got to put this in your notes." And it's really funny. He's like, he'll tell me the time and everything because I'll be busy watching something or I'm busy typing something anyways. He's like, "You got to put this time and you got to put this person." He's like, "This is what happened," and I watched it happen, and my jaw to the floor. And I looked at him and he was like, I missed it. And I was like, it was a good one to miss. You're going to want to watch that one back a couple times. So The next break that we had, I showed him and he couldn't believe it. And then I had to show the people around me because they all missed it. And it was definitely one of the best hits that I've seen. And it didn't it kind of created a little bit of a scrum, but nothing really came about it. And I was really shocked by that.
Yeah. It was very interesting. All right, power play opportunities. Binghamton was 1 for 3, and Danbury, and Port Huron was 1 for 2. I got to remember that. Shots on goal, Binghamton 11 and Port Huron 11. So obviously I kept that in there as the wrong. I didn't change that out. Usually I change that out. Let's go into the second period now.
The Black Bears seized full control of the game in the middle frame, erupting for 4 goals and turning a 1-1 tie into a commanding 5-1 lead. Binghamton grabbed its first lead of the night at 8:17 as Zach Sirota buried his 17th goal of the season off a setup from Dan Weber and Kyle Steffen, making it 2-1. Moments later, controversy struck. At 11:33, what appeared to be another Black Bears goal from Mac Jansen was waved off following a review, as officials determined no goal despite Ivan Bondarenko being taken down on the play. However, the sequence still resulted in a Port Huron penalty, and Binghamton made them pay. With Brett Lockhart and Austin Federley both in the box, the Black Bears capitalized on the 2-man advantage. Austin D'Orazio wired home a 5-on-3 power play goal at 12:38, extending the lead 3-1 with assists from CJ Stubbs and Mac Jansen. The physicality, the chaos only ramped up from there. Midway through the period, a dangerous collision occurred when Gavin Yates drove hard toward the net as Bailey Huber came out for a poke check. Yates collided with both Huber and the post in a heavy impact, remaining down on the ice before eventually leaving the game. Huber, despite the contact, was able to stay and finish the period. While killing a penalty late in the frame, the Black Bears delivered another back-breaking moment with Scott Romakers in the box. Mac Jansen struck for a shorthanded goal, 15:50, finishing off a feed from Tyson Gerkby to push the lead to 4-1. Binghamton wasn't done yet. With just 41 seconds remaining in the period, Romakers exited the penalty box earlier in the sequence and capped off the scoring with his 16th goal of the season at 19:19 off assists from Sirota and Garrett Sargis. The period ended with multiple scrums and fights, including bouts involving Tyson Kirkby, Cam Cervoni, and Jacob Shankar. As tensions boiled over heading into the second intermission, Binghamton outshot Port Huron 14-7 in the period and carried a dominant 5-1 lead into the third.
Yeah. The first 2 penalties of the second period went to Gavin Yates, but the second one made no sense at all with all the media sitting up in the press box, because we went back and we reviewed it and we couldn't figure it out. Yates was assessed a diving call. And even after reviewed the video a few times, it makes no sense to me at all. When basically what happened was there was a stick that came in from the defender that was trying to slow Gavin down. I don't know if it hit Gavin in the face, but it made Gavin move his head backwards. And moving his head backwards, they called that diving. It was the most ridiculous call I'd seen in the game, probably the whole weekend, realistically. I couldn't make heads or tails of it at all, but that's what they called it. It was insanely ridiculous. And I think Zach Sirota got an embellishment call also in the third period. And when you go and you look at it, it made no sense at all either. It almost felt like the referees were kind of feeling bad for Port Huron a little bit. And they were just kind of trying to throw them a bone, which I don't know. I mean, I don't ever believe that referees are paid off or anything like that. I don't buy into those conspiracy theories. But it almost made me feel like they felt some sympathy for the Prowlers, so they were kind of giving some phantom calls there to try to get them back into the game. I don't know why they would do that. I'm not saying that the referees did that, but maybe subconsciously they couldn't help themselves in that sense. But it seemed weird to me because they were the 2 weirdest diving embellishment calls I'd seen in a long, long time. I mean, again, a player shouldn't just take a stick to the face just to take a stick to the face. If he knocks his head, if he pulls his head back and then he turns around and looks at the referee, because the referee raised his arm at that point and called, hey, that's a penalty, and Gavin turns around with his hand in the air, where's that diving? That's not even close to diving. Diving to the letter of the law is when you fall down on purpose when someone's hooking you or sticking you or something like that. It made no sense to me at all.
Yeah, I thought at first when they called that penalty, they called it as an embellishment penalty, and then later on they changed it to diving. Which either way, it makes no sense. Either way you look at it, and if you look up the rule book, embellishment and diving are literally the same thing in the rule book. They're under the same page and everything because I had read it like 16 times to try to figure out what Gavin could have done. And then we went back and watched the video a bunch of times, and none of us could figure out what was happening that warranted a call.
Yeah.
And I just remember like being there, and then I remember watching Tyson Kirkby just losing his mind for the next several minutes on the ref.
Yes, because you remember he was skating around while the play was still happening, looking at the ref going, are you kidding me? Or saying something to him. I actually thoroughly enjoyed watching Tyson give it to the ref a little bit because I thought maybe he was going to get in trouble, though, as well.
I thought that at one point because he kept hammering him, and like at one point the ref had this look, and I'm like, Tyson's going to get in trouble. He's going to get a penalty. He's going to get the unsportsmanlike. It's going to be this whole thing that's going to happen, and then it never happened. But Tyson went at him for several minutes about it, and I'm like, that tells you right there that they're not happy with what just happened because it made no sense whatsoever.
It didn't. It didn't. It certainly did. All right, Zach Sorota's goal. He was right on the and right in front of Huber and scored on the rebound, exactly where you want someone after a shot like that, which is usually where the rat usually is. The Black Bears and Tomei kept the Prowlers at bay and scoreless through another crazy period where, again, a player gets hurt. The Black Bears had a goal taken away when Mac Jansen scored after Ivan Bondarenko came in on Huber. Bondo was taken down. However, the Prowlers asked for a review, and the referees did so and then called a no goal. But the Black Bears got on the power play as Lockhart got called for slashing. Now, the slashing is what took down Bondarenko, which put him into the thing, causing the goalie interference. This is another call that didn't make sense to me, and Cole Parenti was absolutely correct. When I rewatched the game and I was listening to Cole Parenti basically said, oh, by the way, Cole Parenti will be up in a little bit here on the Power Play Post Show, so it's very good. We did not talk to him about this play because we recorded it last week. But I want to say that Cole was 100% correct. Why not just give him the goal? Because you'd already called a penalty, and the penalty was actually the result of Bondarenko being slashed and then taken down into Bailey Huber. Again, this is something that just didn't make sense to me at all. I don't know. So they called a non-penalty version of goalie interference during what should have been an extra attacker power play, I guess. I don't know. It was very strange. Seconds later, the Prowlers took another penalty, which led them to a lengthy 5-on-3, which led to the Austin D'Orazio goal. Because if you give the Black Bears any amount of room like that, they're going to score. With 5:20 left to go in the period, Gavin Yates ran hard into Bailey Huber as Huber was going for a poke check. Yates collided with the post. And unlike other arenas, and you know which arenas I'm talking about, you know which arenas that just don't have professional pegs systems, pro peg systems. They don't have that. The Nets in Binghamton stay on. This led to Huber and Yates down, with Yates staying down longer than Huber. Yates left the ice and didn't come back. He came in hard. Huber did go for the poke check, which did lead to a nasty collision. Huber did finish the period. So if Huber was really injured or couldn't continue, then why did he continue for the last 5 minutes? I think Chris Paulin needs to explain that one to me a little bit. With Romakers getting a penalty, Mac Jansen gets a shorty to make it 4-1. So with all that being said, we still come out on the better end of the stick because we did score a goal. But Gavin, we hope you're okay. I know, Dana, you're going to be listening to this more than likely. I hope Gavin is okay. We're thinking about him. Hopefully he's okay, because I didn't hear anything after the game. I did not see him at all, so I'm hoping he's okay. This then led to 3 more fights before the end of the period, with only 5 minutes left and change left to go. Brian Parsons and Tyson Kirkby fought after Parsons cross-checked Dominic Tomei in front of the net, no call. You cannot blame Tyson for that fight. No cross-check penalty to Parsons, a total missed call by the referees. Again, the referees, I think, had a bad night, and I agree with Chris Paulin. They have a tough job to do. I will say that. But you cannot let a goaltender be cross-checked and then nothing happen. Because this is where, when I was talking about it earlier, Taylor, where I feel like the referees let this game go, and I agreed with Justin McGregor, who sometimes can be a big pain in the ass when he's out there and he's just so rough with the fans when he's on the message boards talking about the games and everything. But I agree with him 100% here. The referees did not control this game at all, and I think it led to stuff that didn't need to happen. But your thoughts on the cross-check? I think it happened in front of you.
Yeah, it definitely happened in front of me, and it's just one of those things where you almost can't believe that it happened, and then you also can't believe that there was no call about it. And I know at one point I think we even talked about it here on the show where, one of the intermissions or towards the end of the game where I think it was after, I think it's this intermission actually,
right,
where Port Huron is trying to get off the ice and the Prowlers are trying to go after him.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where that's just, in my opinion, that is absolutely ridiculous.
Off limits.
And so Parsons did what he did, and Tyson was the only guy who was paying attention at the time because Durazio was in front of Timmy. He didn't see it happen. He just all of a sudden he turns around and Tyson's going after Parsons and they're ready to drop the gloves. He didn't see it, but he turns around and Timmy's on the ground. So obviously something happened, and it was after the play. You don't do things after the play. That just blows my mind.
Yep.
And so, I'm so happy that, again, Tyson during this game absolutely 100% why he's the leader on this team, because he's not afraid to say things. He's not afraid to do things, and he will 100% stand up for whoever he needs to stand up for.
Yeah.
And he unlike Gavin, who, might say the wrong things to the refs at certain points and get in trouble.
Not our Gavin.
Tyson can, obviously say things to the refs without overstepping and getting thrown into the box or suspended for a couple of games. But I'm very happy with Tyson, taking that on. And I'm still baffled by some of the comments some of the Prowler fans have said after the game. And it's something, I can't, it still bothers me that happened to Timmy. And at one point, Jeremy looked at me and he goes, "This is a game." He goes, "The third period, they need to put Connor in," because he goes, Timmy is not going to sit there and shove somebody or push him or hit him with a stick or do anything like that. He goes, "I would love to see them try to do any of that to Connor and get away with it." And I was
they wouldn't. And I'm going to tell a small story that I probably shouldn't tell, but I'm going to. First of all, we all noticed Connor McAnanima opens up the door during one of the breaks, and he was actually chirping Bailey Huber from where the backup goalie sits. They opened up the door there, and he actually was chirping Bailey Huber. And I got to be honest with you, I think if they would have put him in, he would have been A-okay dropping the gloves, and I think he would have taken on anybody he wanted to. So, but yeah, he definitely did that. Now, Justin Jammer and Cameron Savone fought a spirited fight with Cam getting the takedown. Before this fight, Jacob Shankar laid a huge hit that eventually, when the whistle blew, Cece and Jammer had the gloves dropped and were going after it. I do believe that there was a hit high on Cam, and he was not happy about that. So Jacob Shankar laid a hit, somebody laid a hit on Cece, and Cece went after it. Then at the end of the period,
which is crazy because Cam Cervoni is the nicest dude ever.
Yeah, even on the ice.
He's just so nice. So to see him drop the gloves just tells you how crazy this game was.
Yeah. Then at the end of the period, Jamie Bissell fought a second time with Jacob Shankar and left the ice holding up the peace sign, including that he won, indicating that he won 2 fights. If you care more about winning 2 fights and not that you're down 5-1, that is too bad. The funny thing is he's obviously his thought process is in line with Chris Paulin, right? If you think about it, it's not results driven. It's results driven, but when it comes to fighting, I don't know. Then Millette and another Prowler, as teams were heading to the locker rooms, stopped in front of Timmy, clearly they were hoping he was going to pop. But a shout out to one of the EQ managers, John Brown. John, if you're listening to this, I saw you on video. I saw you yelling onto the ice from the door, letting the team know that Timmy was in bad territory, so to speak, right? He was yelling onto the ice to alert the Black Bears still on the ice that Timmy was being hunted basically by the Prowlers. Timmy just skated away, which was good. But yeah, come on. You don't really? Ramekers did make it 5-1 with 41 seconds left to go with the period, with some beautiful passing from Zach Sirota, and this was just a little after a great hit by Garrett Sargis in the defensive zone. Everybody was hitting. Everybody that was supposed to be hitting people on the Black Bears in that game was hitting people. Jacob Shankar, CC was hitting people. Garrett Sargis, Tyson Kirkby, Zach Sirota. Well, Zach Sirota doesn't really hit people. I don't know what he does to get all the people pissed off at him. I think it's just if he's just standing there, he just parks
himself in front of that netminder, and
I guess
drives those defensive men wild.
And I'm not picking on Zach at all. I'm just saying I don't see him doing like I see Jacob Shankar hitting people left and right, and nobody's going after him. Well, except for in this particular case, Bussell eventually did. But you know what I'm saying? It was like I'm like. Crazy. It's crazy. All right. I don't like that Blake Anderson and Gavin Yates were both injured in an unfortunate incident. This game hasn't just been physical. It has been violent. And folks, when I say violent, I mean that's the kind of stuff that happens when you believe more in playing violently. And it's unfortunate. Power play opportunities in this period, 1 for 3. Port Huron was 0 for 4. I'm gonna 0 for 3. I'm gonna screw that up the whole game. Shots on goal, Binghamton 14, Port Huron 7. Binghamton now had a lead 25-17 in the shot department. And I think the third period was a little bit boring. Let's go.
It definitely was boring. And to kind of just jump back to the whole Tomei situation at the end of that period.
Yeah.
Like, that's the part where I want to show Paulin and be like, you are coming after us for apparently taking out all of your goalies, but this is what you're doing at the end of a period when everyone's supposed to be going off to intermission. Yeah. You have guys trying to hunt down our goalie, hoping that he's going to retaliate in some way. Like, Tomei, of all goalies in probably this league, is the last guy who would ever do anything.
Yeah. I know.
Like, I don't even see, like, it could be like the most outrageous game. Everybody, like, the last thing to happen would be a goalie fight, and I highly doubt Tomei would be the one.
Yeah.
It would be like, I don't remember who it was that it just happened, but the one goalie went skating all the way down to the other goalie, and he's yanking and ripping on him, and the other goalie is just hanging on the goal, and he's not moving. He's not feeding into it. He's not doing nothing. That would be Tomei. 100%.
Yeah. Agreed. And then that goalie would be kicked out of the game.
Yeah, exactly. And it would be great, and it would be priceless, and it would be like the best moment, and everybody would love Tomei for it. Even though I'm sure they would like to see a fight out of him, that to me it would be just the cherry on top, and just it would be great. But continuing on to the probably most boring period out of this whole game, it was very, like, I would even say lackluster. It was very shocking, especially after those first two periods, and that first period taking like an hour and a half to complete.
It did.
The third period saw no scoring, but plenty of continued physical play as both teams combined for several penalties and misconducts. Binghamton and Port Huron traded chances throughout the period, but neither side could solve the goaltending, with the Black Bears edging the Prowlers 6-5, which is crazy in
very
shots.
low. Yeah, again, yeah.
And I mean, so Binghamton, making the other team not get a lot of chances in the third period has been pretty much a theme. But for Binghamton to have that little of chances is also crazy.
I think, I'll be honest with you, I think the reason why that was, I think both teams were playing on the edge of their skates. And what I mean by that is I think they were just anticipating another big one happening, right? Another big incident happening, and it didn't kind of really happen. I mean, I know there was the Reggie Millette 4-minute spearing because he did that to CC. Again, spearing CC actually makes zero sense to me at all. Like, Reggie, do you really? And here's the funny thing about this. I'm going to tell a small story that, again, I probably shouldn't tell, but this is just the way this game and this podcast is going today. CC tells me that Reggie Millette and him train in the summertime. That's why he was kind of surprised that he speared him. Think about that, Reggie. You're so concerned about the violent aspect of the game. You're going to spear somebody you train with in the summertime? Really? I don't know. Kind of crazy. Maybe you should stop drinking Chris Paulin's Kool-Aid. Heavy and hard. We're gonna come up with a new beer. It's gonna be the Prowlers Heavy and Hard beer, something like that. All right, let's move on so we can really get to other things.
Port Huron turned to Jameson Baroque in net for the final frame, providing relief for Bailey Huber, but the damage has already been done. As frustrations lingered, and the penalties continued to pile up, including matching misconducts to Kyle Steffen and Dylan Marty for inciting, along with a 4-minute spearing minor assessed to Reggie Millette late in the game. When the final horn sounded, the Black Bears secured a convincing 5-1 victory and officially claimed the season series, winning 7 of the 8 meetings between the two teams.
All right. I feel like the third period wasn't as bad as the first 2 periods, which is good for everyone involved. There was still a lot of penalties in the third period, but it did not lead to anything too bad. Simply, the Black Bears won the game 5-1, and they won the regular season series 7-1. This was Dominic Tomei's 9th 1-goal game of the season on top of 7 shutouts. But, there's a problem in Binghamton with the goaltending. Holy crap. Strike the presses here. He's having a great season. Overall, I think the Prowlers don't like losing to the Black Bears, who they think that they are tougher than. And they maybe are. But being tough on the ice will never lead you to scoring goals. Physicality always adds up to pucks in the... Physicality doesn't always add up to pucks in the back of the net and wins in the standings. And that's my Jerry. I don't know. What was the guy that did the Jerry? He had that TV show where everybody came on and fought. And
Jerry Springer?
Jerry Springer. That's my
Springer.
Yeah, that's my Jerry Springer final thought of the day. Right? So let's repeat that. Physicality doesn't always lead to pucks in the back of the net and wins in the standings. And that's the truth. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Port Huron. The Black Bears will likely sit a few players on Saturday's game, which they did. There was a lot of ice bags being used by the Black Bears, and I can see a lot of college kids playing in Watertown, which they did. Games like these where players get hurt, Anderson and Yates, you don't want to see that. Both teams went after the goalies, playing hard to the net, which led to a lot of scrums. Gavin's run on Huber was a hockey play, and he came out on the worst end of that play there. Remember that, guys. Parsons' run on Tomei, I would be okay if it didn't raise the stick and use a two-handed cross-check on Tomei high. Both were not called with anything, and I feel like one getting called would be a makeup for the Prowlers, but not saying it should have happened. But if they did that, maybe that would have made it up. Blaming referees for players' actions is immature. Players, even Black Bears players, make whatever decisions, and yes, some missed calls are worse than others, but ultimately, the players are responsible for their actions. I have always said that, and I will always stand by it. However, the referees let this one go by. All right. Black Bears are now 7-1 against the Prowlers. I already said that. 7-1 at home. They were 4-0. Away, they were 3-1. Goals for. They scored 38 goals in 8 games for a 4.75 goals for per game against 18. 2.25 goals against per game. By the way, Chris Paulin, that's how you win and lose. Black Bears earned 20 points in the 8-game series. Dominic Tomei was a 7-0 versus the Prowlers this season, but we have a goalie problem. Black Bears scored 12 power play goals and only allowed 6 power play goals in this series. Both Mac Jansen and Scott Ramakers had 2 game-winning goals each versus the Prowlers, and the Black Bears only lost once to the Prowlers, and it was in Port Huron on November 1st. Do you remember back that far? Because I don't know if I can. By the score of 4-1. Power play opportunities in the third period was 0 for 1. Port Huron was 0 for 1. Shots on goal, Binghamton 6, Danbury, I did it again. Port Huron 5. Totals were Binghamton 31 and Port Huron 22. Anything about those numbers that I read there near the end strike out to you?
I mean, other than really wishing that I could just send these to Paul and say, this is what happens when you're not focused on results, apparently. But I mean, and again, aside from I guess we don't have any confidence in our goalie, which this is like, it makes you like sit here and wonder, like, they obviously either A, don't do video reviews like the Black Bears do to understand their opponent and
or how to play
any
hockey
type of, idea of who they're going against when they go to face them.
Systems, forechecking, transitional play.
Or they just act like any game they've ever faced against us at all never happened.
Ooh.
You know, they faced Tomei 7 times this season. They faced Connor in the playoffs last season. I can't understand anything that guy is trying to say. And
let's read the results, the stats for this game, and then we'll get on to our interviews and then come back and talk about Watertown. That's a more positive game, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was less happening, even though I think there was trying to be some things happening. Definitely a lot less happening in that game.
Yeah. All right.
Black Bears win a feisty game on Hall of Fame night, 5-1. Mac Jansen scored his 31st goal of the season and assisted on another for a 2-point night. Zach Sirota scored his 16th goal of the season and assisted on another for a 2-point night. Tyson Kirkby scored his 21st goal of the season and assisted on another for a 2-point night. With his fight in the game, Tyson recorded a Gory Hout hat trick, his 2nd of the season. Scott Romaker scored his 15th goal of the season. Austin Durazio scored his 24th goal of the season. Dominic Tomei saved 21 of 22 shots, earning his 27th win of the season and improving his record to 27-2-0. That's a lot of twos and wow.
Yeah.
With the win, the Black Bears record improves to 45-6-2 with 134 points.
Oh, and just one more time, because we started this little segment with this, we'll end it with it.
What's the message to the group after a game like that? This is the last time you see these guys in the regular season.
Yeah, nothing's changed with our group about results orientation. We don't get focused or fixated on results.
By the way, I think that Will Wiggeman looks at the camera exactly when he says that. Like, I don't know if maybe Will's like hearing that going, did he really just say that? Did he really? Is that going to show up on the Power Play post show? Yes, Will. It will. And it did. All right, so the game started late because there was the Hall of Fame ceremony. Derek Wood got into the Hall of Fame from the BC Icemen, played 4 seasons, was a main fixture of those 4 seasons for the BC Icemen, played some in the playoffs for the Icemen as well, which was very cool. And, of course, Jerry D'Amigo was also honored. He's a Binghamton native working for the fire department. He played with the Toronto Marlies and the Toronto Maple Leafs in the NHL. Played some games here in Binghamton. We have a great interview with him coming up in just a few moments. However, first we're going to play our interview with Black Bears colorman and now the new Mid-South Director of Media and Broadcasting, Cole Parenti. So we'll do the Cole Parenti interview first. You'll hear a little small commercial. We'll go to Jerry D'Amigo. And then Taylor and I will be back after those 2 interviews, and we'll touch upon a little bit of the Watertown game and what's coming up next weekend for the Binghamton Black Bears. So we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Hi, this is Don Biggs from the 92-93 Binghamton Rangers. Hi, this is Brandon Buczynski.
This is Grady Wittenberg, the voice of the Binghamton Senators, and you're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. It is 6 more questions for, well, you know what, Taylor? You take it over. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
All right, we are going to do 6 more questions with Emerson Emery. And my first question's actually kind of a funny one because we messed it up so bad when I did the Scott Ramaker's interview that I messed the question up, Scotty messed the question up, and Bobby messed it up.
Oh, okay.
Several times. So the first one's a would you rather. Would you rather fight 1 horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? And I just have to say that both Bobby and Scotty were wrong in their answers. There is a right or wrong answer here.
1 horse-sized duck.
Or 100 duck-sized horses.
I'm taking the 100 duck-sized horses.
They said
all
the
day.
same thing. Man, you guys.
All day.
Explain why.
You ever have a goose, mad at you?
Yeah, they're a lot worse
What is
than
it?
ducks. I'm talking about a duck.
Yeah, but
Ducks
still,
are nice.
some about...
Have you ever had a horse? Have you ever been kicked by a horse?
No, but they're
Okay.
tiny. You know what I mean? If they're tiny, the kicks won't hurt too
They're not
bad.
that small.
I don't know. Just kick them. I don't know. Something
There's
about a
100 of 'em.
horse-sized duck.
You are 100% right, sir.
Oh,
I
thank
just want
you.
to say
Man,
that.
yeah, no, we gotta get some better people to interview up here, man. Fans agree with me. I'll take that one. I'll take that at least. What is your go-to karaoke song? I know you just said you're a metal guy, so I don't know.
Yeah, I try to stay away from those from karaoke. I haven't sang karaoke in a long time. In college, it was Mr. Brightside.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah.
It's a great song. I love that
Mr.
song.
Brightside?
By the Killers.
Oh, by the Killers. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, it's a great song. All righty. Third question. If you were a dog, which breed would you be?
Siberian Husky.
Oh, that was a quick answer.
Yeah.
Is it your favorite, or is it just...
No, he looks like a Siberian Husky.
No,
They're
that's my favorite.
Very...
Yeah, I guess.
very
Maybe I just said that because I grew up with one, and I love, the winter and outdoors. And
the floofy curly tail's all I think about.
Yeah.
All right. If you could be in any movie, what movie would it be?
What movie?
Or TV show. I'll even give you TV show if you're not a big movie guy.
Okay. I'm not a huge movie guy, but, oh, man. I got a few thoughts, but good movie to be in. I think I'd pick Fast and Furious, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which part would you be? Who would you be?
I thought of Tokyo Drift and
Okay.
just ripping up and down the mountain when they do the races there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably be the what is it? The country guy that goes out there, the white guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd assume I'd be that guy.
That's fitting.
That's about right.
All right. And last but not least, if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
One superpower? Does grilling money work? No. Superpower? Probably I'd say to fly. That'd be cool.
All right.
Be a little
fair enough.
sketchy though.
I would rather be invisible.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
Damn.
For the wrong reasons. Trust me, completely 100% the wrong reasons. But flying you could save people's lives. You could bypass traffic. Mine's just totally nefarious.
Yeah, I think I would choose flying as well. I mean, we travel a lot for races, and it's a long time, so I would pick flying. 100%.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's
you done?
That's all of our questions. So
All right. That was 6 more questions with Emerson Emery.
it may have actually only been 5, but we'll.
That's okay. Em, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Bobby.
And we'll talk to you guys soon right here on the Power Play Post Show.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. It only took, 3.5 years for me to get this gentleman here on the show, but I'm very excited for him. I'm excited for his future and everything he's about to experience once the Binghamton Black Bears season is all done. He is the color commentator. I think he does a lot of things behind the scenes that we don't know about. He is Cole Parenti. Cole, welcome to the show. It's really good to have you on.
Oh, thanks, Bob. I appreciate it. I mean, I've been dying to get on the show. Brooks has been making it sound so good. I've been getting jealous.
So Cole, first of all, congratulations. You obviously made the announcement yourself on your personal Facebook page, but being able to go join a team where you get to help build the organization from the ground up, along with Andreas Johansson down in South Haven, Mississippi. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, I mean, thanks. It's been such a whirlwind couple of days, between family and friends reaching out and congratulating and even getting the work started. We started hitting the ground running, season tickets and stuff, and trying to get everything together. But it's just so cool to think that, Andreas had that trust in me. And of course, I trust him. He's done such a great job here and has been so great to me over these last 5 or 4 and change years that when he came calling, I was like, yeah, let's do it.
You were down there, obviously, for the press conference. I said to Andreas during the interview that it seemed like there were a lot of people there. One of the applauses sounded really loud and everything. Give me your assessment of the turnout from the business people, the corporate people to come out to support this press conference.
Yeah, I mean, I was taken aback by just how much people really were pumped to have us there. And even with all the phone calls I've been doing, they've been like, we're so happy you're back. This is great. We're so excited, and I couldn't believe it because, I didn't know how big hockey was down in the South. Growing up on Long Island, I was like, all right, we have hockey up here in the North. And even on Long Island, it's like, all right, yeah, people like it, but it's not like some of those other sports. So when I'm down South, I'm like, there's no way they care at all down here in the hot weather. But they were pumped and into it and super excited. All the businesses showed up and showed out, and everyone really wants to get involved with us. And we can't wait to get started and get involved with them.
So now you did make this. You did state that you guys were down there starting to accept season ticket packages and things of that nature and getting that stuff set up. I believe you were down there with Trevor. Trevor went down for a little bit too, right? Correct?
Yeah, he did. He's been helping out. He was down there with me. Two of us. We had some fun times flying out of Albany and flights getting down to Memphis, and it was an adventure to say the least. And he can tell you more about that in person, especially with the rental car and stuff. But it was a good time. I was glad to have him there, and I think we both enjoyed our time down there.
Now, I have to ask, like, is there a part of you that's kind of like excited to be able to help build a new franchise from the ground up? Or is there a part of you that would be like, oh, the safe thing would be just, Brooks goes to the ECHL and I get Binghamton?
Well, there's part of me that, thinks like that. And there's part of me that's really excited. And then there's another part that's like, no matter what I do here in Binghamton, like Brooks is going to be the voice for a long time. I mean, he's the voice of the last 2 championships and stuff. Yeah. People think of the Black Bears, they're going to think of Brooks. But going down here, like you get a chance to really be the guy that tells the story, and, your voice will be shown and showcased as the season goes on and as the years go on. And I don't want to minimize anything that me and Brooks did here, and especially him. I think that this has been kind of all his doing, the growing of, our broadcast and getting better. And I really am excited to build what we built here down there.
Which would be really great. Now, you grew up on Long Island, and you just told me a little bit ago that I'm very old by saying that you're 23, or going to be 23, and that you've been basically alive since I started doing this show. Talk a little bit about Long Island. There's probably misconceptions about Long Island and maybe even the sports scene there. I know Nolan Egbert is from Long Island, so he's talked to me a little bit about it. But what was it like growing up on the island?
Well, growing up on the island, it's so different than what you expect. Like, for where I'm going to now, I should say. And
sure.
Me and Eggy, we still talk a lot about the Islanders, both of us being Islander fans. He had season tickets. I wasn't as lucky. But he was such a great guy, and I love talking to him, especially with all the good stuff happening. When you're on Long Island, like it's the traffic, everyone tells you, it's 100% true.
Yeah.
The sports scene, it really depends on what you're playing. There's big lacrosse stuff down there, and you go other places and they never even heard of lacrosse. But hockey on Long Island has its niche, I think, and when it explodes, like a team's doing well, people will pay attention. Like I actually went to high school with Charlie McAvoy's sister.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she was actually, my mom also teaches in the district. She was in my mom's kindergarten class when she was teaching. Charlie McAvoy was her K helper. She used to put kids on the bus to help her out, which is really funny. Wow. But I knew her. And once he got to the league, hockey really went nuts in my hometown of Long Beach.
So for you, growing up on the island, were you an athlete? Did you play? If I remember correctly, we talked once before, I think in the press box, and I thought you said you were a goalie even.
A bully?
A goalie.
Goalie. I thought you said a bully. No, I never played.
Okay.
I don't know if what I did you would call being, playing sports. I was a baseball guy and a basketball guy, but I wasn't too good at either one of them.
Okay.
I was a first baseman in baseball, and I didn't hit too well my last few years. I definitely figured out early that I should probably be behind the camera and in front of a microphone. So you can see how I chose this.
So did you enjoy sports though when you were young?
Oh yeah. I used to love it. I mean, I loved playing, and you really love like the guys you're hanging around, like just the feeling of being together. I remember when Kyle Steffen came back, before he re-signed, and I said, "Hey Steph, how's retirement going?" He's like, it's cool and all, but you really miss the locker room and you miss the guys and being around everyone. And I keep thinking about that every day, like with the guys I used to play baseball with, how much I miss them and stuff. But I liked playing, but I think I miss the teammates more than I do the actual sport. If that makes sense.
No, it does. Now, when it came to getting into broadcasting, you also had another potential career path, correct?
Yeah, I had thought about being a teacher like my mom, and once this kind of took off, I was like, it's going pretty well here, but I'll still try the teaching school for a little bit just in case I need a fallback. And as the year went on, it just got harder and harder to manage both. And I was like, well, if there's something I really like, it's broadcasting. So that's what we're going to go for, and we're just going to go for it.
And your parents were cool with that?
They were the ones who suggested it. It was my dad was like, why don't you just give up the school and go for the broadcasting? I mean, it's working. And I've been pretty lucky. You hear all those stories about people whose parents are like, no, you have to do something, or they don't believe in the dream. And my parents have been nothing but supportive. And my dad, every game, will send a text to both sides of the family's group chat of the link to the game to watch.
That's awesome. So there's a lot of support there for you by them, correct?
Yeah, they've been great. And it's been really cool these last 2 years. I've been able to have my little brother now here in Binghamton going to school. So he's been supportive as well. He actually, when we were down in the Twin Cities, I had him doing the switching on the camera. He was helping me out. So that was fun to have him involved. And,
So you make the decision, you go from teaching into broadcasting. Did you change your schooling at all, or did you go back?
No, I mean, I was already done. I graduated last year with an environmental studies degree. Mm-hmm. That was kind of like the prerequisite just to get something done and have a degree, and I thought I could fall back to that. But then I tried teaching for half a year this year, and I didn't like the grad school program, and I was starting to want a bigger role here with the team. And once I was able to get that, I was like, you know what, let's just do this full time. Let's give it up.
What was, when you got to do your first game with Brooks and you were going to do color, how nervous were you?
I mean, that was my first game of color was about 4 years ago. It was Brooks's first year, and then Alex was doing the color full time, and he was out.
Yeah.
And I was so nervous. I mean, because I didn't really know this guy who was going to, help me with my future, and I didn't know exactly what I was doing 100%. I mean, I was interviewing some guys on the ice, but that was 30 seconds of talking.
Yep.
And then he puts me on the microphone, and I would say I've grown up a lot since then, but credit for Brooks for keeping me on the path, because I don't know if listening back now, if I would have told you I should have kept with that career, I don't think it was my best game.
Well, and that first game was also within Brooks's first year. And so, you're looking up to him as the guy who's going to show you the way, and yet he was still finding his way as well, correct?
Yeah, and I like to say, I think, the two of us learned from each other a bit. Mm-hmm. I think that we both made each other better. He definitely made me better, and hopefully I can say I made him a little better. We'll see next time you have him on here if he just completely tells you that's wrong, or if he just says, no, I just made him better. But I think we both grew a lot these last few years, as not just broadcasters, but as people. And, I think that really becoming a grown adult has started with what I've done here with the Black Bears, and starting as an 18-year-old in the kids' corner to now a 22-year-old heading down to Mississippi. I'm a much different person than I was.
What do you think you've learned about yourself over these last 4 years?
I think I've learned that when it comes to these tougher tasks, like before I was like, I can get through it kind of skating by, just do the bare minimum. I think I learned that when I put in the work and I really give my all and give it my best shot, that I really get the best work out of myself, and I can hack it with just about anyone when I give it my all.
When, as you know, I write a game day preview every single game for the Binghamton Black Bears that I post on our socials and everything. And you do something, I think it gets released on Wednesday or Thursday for the weekend. I actually love digging into those game day kind of previews and, looking at the other teams sometimes, or even digging deeper on the Black Bears and gathering information. What do you like about doing those previews?
I just like, recapping what we just saw the last week and going through what the other team did and just getting a sense of like where they're coming from, where we're coming from. And I also love to give some of the, some of the unsung heroes their flowers, like
right.
Guys like a Cervoni or a Sirota or an Emery, guys who they don't put it up on the score sheet, but they do such a great job night in, night out that if I can write a little piece where it's like, hey, keep an eye out for this guy, watch what he does. I love to be able to do that.
Yeah, we do that with the Impact Players Report, right? Having Taylor write about sometimes it's the first star that's really one of the biggest impacts, but also sometimes, and I don't think people realize this, and you and I have probably seen this a lot with the Rangers and the Islanders, where sometimes our best guys are the guys that are on the fourth line or the third line, and they're out there grinding and they're just working really, really, really hard and whatnot. And you know that from just being an Islanders fan. And when you had the good years and the bad years, sometimes one of your favorite players or one of the best players on the ice was a third liner or a fourth liner.
There were good years
for you guys. Yeah, well, I know peaking at the second round of the playoffs is not considered good, but it's good for the Islanders.
Yeah, let's just say I've been lucky that the team I root for in the Feds be doing a lot better.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Talk about being a sports fan on the island. Obviously, you're an Islanders fan. What other teams are your favorite teams in the other sports?
Oh, yeah, I know my dad's going to listen to this, so I'm going to blame him for why my sports life has been so miserable growing up as a Islanders fan, a Met fan, and a Knicks fan. It's so much pain, but I feel like it's made me a stronger person. I mean, come on, look at all the loyalty I have with this team. I'm the most loyal guy you ever meet. You're rooting for the Knicks and the Mets and the Islanders. You should study guys like us.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, listen, when I grew up, I was a Dallas Cowboys fan, and I was a New York Yankees fan, and I was a New York Rangers fan. Now, the Rangers did give it to us once, right? And obviously the Cowboys haven't been good in 30-some years, and the Yankees, they go on streaks, right? So it's very difficult. So, but I always feel the pain of the guys who will tell me that they're Knicks fans, Islanders fans, Jets fans, and Mets fans, because those people literally suffer almost all year long.
It's tough. I mean, I used to be a Jets fan too. I don't watch football as much anymore, but it'll knock you down, and sometimes you're like, I don't know if I can get back up from this one.
You've watched hockey for a long time, correct? I mean, as an Islanders fan for probably most of your life.
Yeah, I think the first memory growing up was that 2012-13 season, and if Eggy's listening, he'll know what I'm talking about with Evgeny Nabokov, and they made the playoffs for the first time in 10 years.
I don't think we normally see teams like the Black Bears, like the Florida Everblades, and what they did in ECHL for a few years in a row, or the Hershey Bears winning a couple. We don't see that often. What do you think the secret sauce truly is with the Black Bears? I know I've talked about many things, but I'd love to get your opinion on what you think the secret sauce is here in Binghamton.
I think it's the guy at the top. I think Coach Sherwood does such a good job of finding these guys and getting them to buy in and then creating a system. Guys that he finds that I just don't know how he even does it. This year it's the Shants and the Yorks of the world. Last year it's the Swains, the Ramakers the year before that, and Clarks. Where does he find these guys who are just going to make such an impact when you look at how they played in college, and maybe they didn't light up the numbers as much, but then they come here and they're stars and they're studs. And I think his ability to recruit and scout mixed with his skill of coaching is really why they've been able to just be at the top for so long. I think he just does such a great job.
It's very true. I think Brandt does bring a lot to the table. He's also, I think, opened up the doors in the eyes of other people on other teams, other recruiters on other teams, and other coaches. You take a look at the Port Huron Prowlers signing 2 D1 athletes just a week and a half ago, and they've already made big impacts. He brought in Kyle Steffen, who's a D1 athlete, and we're seeing that high-level, high-end skill sets come to the Fed. Single A. We've obviously seen it in the SPHL for years, but now we're starting to see that here in the Fed. And realistically, Brandt Sherwood is a big reason why that's happening, not just for the Black Bears, but for other teams as well. It's opened up doors.
I like to say that when he got here, I think the whole league changed. I mean, when I first started, you and I both know that guys would go for the hit and give up the 2-on-1 rush. They just didn't care. It was all about big hits and big goals. And now you just look at the quality of play over the last 5 years just gotten so much better. And I think it just started with Brandt and how he was able to take this team from being, middle of the pack to, you want to be like us. We're the gold standard here. And, hopefully when I get down to the Mid-South, we can build something like that.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to be the toughest hire that Andreas is ever going to have to make, which is to hire the coach down there in the Mid-South, knowing that the last hire he made for a head coach was Brandt Sherwood? I mean, that's a hard thing to kind of, replicate.
I don't think so, because, he has a history of good coaches. I mean, he won a championship up in Watertown. There were some good guys there. And I think easily hiring Sherwood would be the hardest one, because he did it mid-season, right? I mean, he was an interim, had to find him. So I think he'll like the time aspect of it better than what he had when he was trying to find Scherzi.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely tough. It really makes or breaks what's going to happen over these next few months is who's calling the shots of the coach department and player personnel. And, it all starts with that strong foundation at the top. And I think Binghamton's a perfect example of that, especially Brandt.
Did Andreas make the already the best decision of his career hiring you for the Mid-South team?
Hiring me?
Yeah.
If he's listening, then yeah, totally. You could tell him, it's a great decision. I mean, my mom thinks so. My dad thinks so. I think so. So that's 3 people right there.
I think it was a great decision as well. How excited are you for that first game? I know there's a lot of hurdles to get over first, and you don't even know the schedule. You don't even know your opponent, even though it'll probably be someone like Monroe. But how excited are you for getting that first game under your belt?
I'm over the moon, and just kind of I said to Andreas, I wish we could play tomorrow when we were down there. I wish we could put the ice in right now and get everyone going, because I want to get this game and I want to call it, and I want to start a whole new generation down there of hockey. And I'm excited to see what we're able to build. And that arena was awesome when we were taking a look.
Yeah, explain. Tell us a little bit about the arena, the Lander Center. I've seen it from the outside. I've seen from what I could see through the video of the press conference. Tell us a little bit about this arena. I know it's bigger than obviously the Veterans Memorial Arena. It's also newer. So tell us a little bit about this arena.
Well, we talked about me growing up on the island. It reminded me of the new Nassau Coliseum, just so pretty and clean, and just looked like you could put a National Hockey League team in there. It was big. The seats, 2 decks, a ribbon board, stuff like that is just crazy to me, to think that I get to work for a team that has all that stuff. And there's not a Jumbotron per se, but there's this giant scoreboard that is just so cool to look at.
That's very cool.
And I'm just excited to make an impact there and get it started.
Yeah. So what is the plan for you? How soon after the playoffs are done and you're hoisting the 3rd Commissioner's Cup with the Black Bears, do you think that you'll be heading down there?
I think I'm taking the cup with me when they win it. And I'm just
really?
Gonna have it on the office in the Mid-South just to, remind people. No, of course not.
That would be awesome.
I think it would probably be around late May.
Yeah.
It really depends on, I need to go home and get everything packed up and say goodbye to family, of course. I also have my best friend from home is getting married June 1st, so we're trying to figure all that out. But as soon as I can get down there is when I'm going to be there. I think I have the place I'm going to live all picked out and stuff, and just need to get a car. And all of a sudden, I'll be Binghamton Black Bears in the past, which is crazy to say, in Mid-South.
Well, let me ask you, wait, you don't have a car?
No, I live right by the arena, so it's not too bad. I get made fun of in the office a lot. They say I can't drive, which I want to put in the record is not true.
You can drive.
I can drive. I just don't own a car.
You don't own a car. Now, did you drive down on the island at all?
I did. I used my dad's car.
Okay.
It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
My parents, they let me use the car, and I could drive on the island. I think if I could drive there, I could drive anywhere. But I need to get one of my own. I think it's about time.
Yeah. So that's going to be the big boy purchase before you go to Mid-South, right?
Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm going to do it down there. I don't want to drive it all the way down there. It's 17 hours.
So you'd rather, so you're going to fly down, buy the car. Hey, listen, it'll have less rust on it, right? Because if you buy that Southern car is always is a good purchase because it doesn't have rust built in. There's no salt that has affected the bottom of the car. Usually. Although the winters in the last couple of years, just in the United States in general, has been a little bit crazy. So you said you already have a place picked out that you're going to be there. Do you think you're going to be one of the first employees down there working full time, or do you think there will be somebody hired before then?
I don't know. I mean, that's really a question for Andreas. I'm okay with either one. Like you ask whatever he wants me to do, I'll get it done. If it's just me, if people are down there, I think we're going to have definitely some help, but I'm not sure how involved they'll be. But he picks the right people. I mean, look at the people he put here in this office. He knows what he's doing. So whoever he brings in, I'm sure will be great. Are
you guys going to try to steal Bobby Gross? That's the question. That's the big question that everyone wants to know. Is Bobby Gross going to be poached and sent down to Mid-South?
Oh, I don't know. That's a question for Bobby. I don't know if he would want to go. He's a Binghamton guy.
I know he is.
Me, it's a little easier because coming not from Binghamton, you can move me. I don't think Bobby would like to leave. I'm sure Bobby hasn't even thought about it. I don't think he would go. But that's a question for him and not me.
Yeah, well, I keep asking questions that you keep diverting. You are definitely a media guy. You are perfectly trained for this. So you keep diverting the tough answers. Cole, it's been a pleasure. You've done such a great job, and you've kind of really grown into who you are today through this whole process. And I'm sure that you're very excited, not only about the playoffs. Hey, let me ask you this question. We talked about impact players for a second. How awesome was it that Nick Swain scored that game-winning goal in the third period against Danbury at home in front of a sellout crowd? And, it's not one of your top-line guys. It's Nick Swain, who has some mad skill and then just turns it on when he needs to.
Oh, Swainer's a stud for that one. That puck moved in slow motion. I think I watched it cross that line. It took like 10 seconds from where we were sitting. I was like, watching it irk its way through and just keep going and hearing the crowd pop in Binghamton it's always such a pleasure. I mean, this place is special. You don't get called Hockey Town USA for nothing.
And how important is it to have a guy like Nick Swain on your third line to win championships?
I mean, you look at a third line guy who can put in 20 goals. Not many teams have a second line guy that can do that. So Swain he adds that element to the Black Bears of just, being legit. And we have three lines that we're going to throw at you, and you got to be ready for all three. There's no off shifts when the Black Bears throw a line at you.
Is there a arena? This is my last question for you. I promise. My last question.
Bob, we can talk all day if you want. I got nothing else.
If you could tell me one arena that you want to go to down in the South that you haven't been to yet, which arena is that? I'm doing like the YouTube kind of question things here that you guys sometimes will pull out, but I'm kind of curious on which city you really want to get to once you get down there, you get settled, and you guys start playing games. Which city do you want to go visit and see that arena?
I really want to go to Biloxi because I've heard so many things about it. Plus, it's right on the beach, so it's kind of like where I grew up. I mean, growing up, I grew up 3 blocks from the beach down on Long Island, about a 10-minute walk, so it would kind of feel home-ish, and to watch a hockey game and then walk out right onto the sand would be kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. So I hope I get to go down there quick.
So are you a beach ocean guy? I mean, is that something that because like when I see you, I was like, I don't think of you as like a beach ocean guy.
I'm not. I'll be honest with you. It reminds me of home. I don't love the ocean.
Okay.
I have this thing where if I can't see my feet, it just throws me off. So the ocean water on Long Island's murky. And it throws me off. I'm more of a water park kind of guy.
Sure.
If we're doing water stuff or a pool than a beach guy.
Yeah. Well, for me, I love listening to the ocean. I don't want to be in the ocean. If that makes sense.
Yeah, there's sharks in the ocean. I don't want to be near that.
I don't blame you. A lot of the guys have talked about Biloxi and absolutely loving it. But you have some really great options too. Baton Rouge, I hear, is a really awesome city to visit. Same thing with Monroe, Louisiana. I mean, some of those places down there that you're going to be able to go to. Topeka is a great place, I hear, as well. So you have some really cool places that you're going to be able to go visit and see pretty soon, which is pretty exciting for you.
Yeah, I mean, when I started here with this job and stuff, it was like you want to see different parts of the country that you wouldn't usually get to see. And now going down there, I'll be able to see, like, I don't know, when was I ever going to go to Monroe, Louisiana or Athens, Georgia, other than through this job, and Columbus, Georgia, just excited to see different parts of the country and different parts of, the hockey world.
No, that's true. All right. So Cole, I'm going to do something with you because I've done it with pretty much everybody that's ever come on the show. Let's do 6 more questions with Cole Parenti. You ready for these?
I'm ready. Give me 67 more, 8 more, whatever you want.
Well, we do the 6 more questions with the guys. You've heard it on the Sunday podcast and everything.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
So let's go through this.
I like answering questions.
All right. So 6 more questions with Cole Parenti. Number 1, who was the greatest influence in your hockey career? All right.
You really want me to say it? It's going to have to. I can't believe I'm going to have to say it.
No. Don't say him. Okay. So let's not go there. Who was your favorite announcer for the Islanders?
Oh, it's Brendan Burke easily. I mean,
love Brendan.
He's great at what he does, and I love listening to him. Anytime I have to put the game on mute or have it on my phone because we're on the bus, I'm always just a little disappointed. So, Brendan Burke is definitely the man.
Let me ask you this question: did you know that Brendan Burke was on the Power Play Post Show?
I did. I was hoping you could, get us on a little coffee kind of excursion and meet. So if you have some strings to pull, I did meet him once when we were at an Islander rookie game. He came up and we were talking. It was really cool.
Yeah. So Brendan was obviously the radio broadcaster up in Utica, and really great guy, very smart, very intelligent, very good very good play-by-play guy, 100%. A very articulate, something that I wish I had about 25% of his abilities there. He is just really, really talented. I was hoping you were going to say him just because I absolutely love him. And he's so good at what he does. He does college football too, Cole, and he's phenomenal at it.
Yeah, I mean, we had Howie Rose for such a long time. And anytime you switch over, there's always that toughness. You're like, well, what's this new guy going to be like? And I think that Brendan just did such a good job that people, I don't know how many people even remember Howie Rose, especially the newer kids nowadays. I'm sure Eggie would, but people growing up will just remember Brendan.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right. So the second question is, what is your dream job outside of hockey? So like if we took you out of hockey tomorrow, what would be your dream job?
That's a good one. I mean, dream job? I don't want to say broadcast in a different sport. I feel like that's cheating.
Yeah, it is cheating a little bit.
It's cheating. So I think, wow, I never really thought of that. I guess teaching I'd have to go with just because, growing up, I was always a camp counselor. Yeah. And I always felt like I did, you always had a good time and, making someone smile or making someone's day. So I really like that. And I think teaching being able to change someone's life is always something that's been kind of cool and I wanted to do.
Well, here's the thing. You can do both of these things at once because once you get down there and you start doing things, you can have interns come in and work with you and you can still teach them as well. So you can do both at the same time, which would be great.
I don't know. Didn't you see how the broadcast interns worked out here in Binghamton? They never leave.
That's okay. That's 100% fair, but it was a good experience for you though, right?
Here, but yeah, this is it. I like this. Like this was what I was studying. School was kind of secondary. This is what I was studying coming in.
That's awesome.
And I learned a lot. Like this was. I don't know if I would have been where I was if I hadn't chosen to come to Binghamton. I definitely don't think I would have been as close. I mean, I was thinking about going to Delaware. Imagine if I would have went there.
Yeah. I think I've heard you talk about that before, about almost going to Delaware instead. Number 3, which artist is on your Spotify playlist the most? Who do you listen to the most when you put the earplugs in? And if you say the Power Play Post Show podcast, that's okay too. But no, seriously, musically, who do you listen to?
So, I'm a little different than most people my age. I'm into some punk pop stuff. Me and my little brother, we have the same kind of taste and we talk about it a lot. All Time Low. Yeah. Oh yeah. Big into them. They're probably both of our favorites actually. Wow. It was really cool. We got to go up to the State Fair this off season and go see them live just out of the blue. I'm a big fan of this band called Mayday Parade. I don't know if you ever heard of them. I mean,
them I haven't.
They're really good. Him and I actually have a concert we're going to a little later on called, the Maine. They're a little different. They're a little lower, but we're into that kind of punk pop stuff, and it's something we've bonded over. He likes to joke that all the music that I listen to is because of him, and he found it all. So
that's funny.
I'm still trying to find one for him to listen to.
That's funny. How old's your brother?
He is 19 now. He's going to be 20. Gotcha. So when I'm watching like the Islanders and watching Matthew Schaefer be younger than him, it's kind of weird. I'll give him a call and I'll be like, this 18-year-old is scoring big goals. What are you doing right now? Cole, and he just hangs up right away and tells me to shut up or something.
Cole, when I started doing this 22 years ago, the oldest guys on the teams a lot of times were like in their late 30s, mid 30s. And I used to joke with him like, I'm still younger than the oldest guys on the team. That's not the case no more. So I'm just going to say that out loud.
Yeah, I don't know, Bob, even in the front office too. We're all pretty young up there.
I know. I would be the oldest if I worked up there. All right. Number 4. And this is the interesting one. I always find this very interesting. Who is the most interesting guy in the locker room? So when you look at the list of players that we have on this team, who would you say is the most interesting guy in the locker room? And remember, these guys are going to listen to this. So, be careful.
All right. Can I bend the rules a little bit here?
Oh, okay. Explain the bending of the rule first, and I'll let you know if you can.
So this guy's technically in the locker room, but he's not on the roster.
You're talking about John Brown.
No, I'm not.
No?
I actually am not. That's a good one.
Oh, okay. Who
I'm
then?
talking about John Quenville. I'm talking about Q. He is great. Is it okay if I bend the rules and go with Q?
Yeah. Explain why.
I mean, Q has all that experience from the NHL especially, but he's just full of all these great stories of when he was growing up and playing in juniors and stuff. And he's such a funny guy. He's talkative too, which is great for someone like me. He actually was giving me some guff the other day when we were going on the bus to Danbury because I like to put my AirPods in and listen to music. He's like, Colsey, we need some more out of you, bud. We need you to contribute more. And then someone piped up in the back, got to give more or something. It's just funny. He's a great guy. And he's a character. He's hysterical. And since he got here, I love talking to Q. He's a good guy.
Well, we're going to have Q on the show this upcoming week as well for his second appearance, and we're going to do it in person, so hopefully that goes very well. But I agree with you. He's a very interesting fellow, so I'm kind of glad that you picked him. All right, number 5.
Him and Cheech. Cheech is an interesting one, too. He's always funny and he's got that comedic timing.
Let's see. Okay, so number 5, what is your favorite candy or sweet?
Favorite candy as a guy who enjoys himself some candy is definitely a Twix bar. I don't know why. There's just something about it that when I was trick-or-treating as a kid, it was always gone first from the Halloween bag.
Yeah, mine was Kit Kats. When I got Kit Kats, they were gone. Sometimes
were you the guy who stole all those Kit Kats that's in the news now?
I don't want to. All right. So we're going to move on to the last question. No, but I wish I did. Oh my God. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Cole. When I heard about that guy, I was literally laying in bed. It was my wife and I were laying in bed and we were watching the TV and we listened to the story and I looked at her and I said, I wish I was that guy. I just wish I was that guy.
Yeah, that guy's a hero.
He is. He really is. Whoever did that, I love you, man. That's great. So Twix, if it's not a candy bar, what other kind of sweet do you like?
Well, everyone knows from listening from when we were in North Carolina, I'm a big cheerwine guy too. It was funny.
That's right.
A couple fans actually said to me, they're like, we have some cheerwine for you. We keep forgetting to bring it. So the fact that caught on is really funny to me.
Can you explain to people what cheerwine is?
It's like a North Carolina soda, cherry soda that started in North Carolina. Brooks, he knows all about it too. He's actually not as big of a fan as I am, which is funny.
Really?
Coming there.
So you went down there and liked it more than he did, and he's from there.
Yeah. My dad, I remember him bringing it home from some work trip for the first time, and looked like he had just an experience that changed his life-changing experience. Like, you guys have to try this. I have to find it, and it's been since then.
Okay, so Cole, number 6, a zombie outbreak has happened, and you're locked in an ice hockey arena, probably down there in the Lander Center. Who's the one person, dead or alive, fictional or non-fictional, that you'd want in that arena with you?
I mean, the easy answer after this week is Chuck Norris, right?
Okay. Yeah. Chuck Norris. Yeah, absolutely.
But
100%.
I think if I'm going zombie hunter, oh man, I was never a big zombie guy growing up, but Batman's going to find a way out of it, right? So let's take Batman.
Ooh, I like it. Batman. Well, see,
I'll let him do all the work.
So, Cole, I would personally just rather stay in the arena. If there was at least power, I could at least keep the ice going, and I could go out there and ice skate. So that would be great. And then I would have weapons right on my feet anyways. So
yeah, you'd have those daggers right there.
I'd have the daggers right there. Cole, thank you very much. Congratulations again. And thank you for coming on. And hopefully next season, when you are the director of media and broadcasting for the Mid-South something or another, you can come back on the show and we can talk about how the team's doing down there.
Yeah, we can preview next year's finals when you guys are getting ready to come to the Mid-South Lander Center for 3, 4, and 5, right?
That would be great. Wait. So you guys would have home ice advantage? Wow, you were really stretching.
I know what I said. I
know what you said too. Cole, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, and thanks to the Binghamton faithful for giving me this time and growing up with me. I'm gonna miss you guys.
That's awesome, and we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
You're listening to the Power Play Post Show. Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. Very excited to have this gentleman back on the show. He was with us back in 2011, 2012, I believe it is. Might have been 2010, 2011. I had to go back and look, Jerry, honestly. But we are talking with future, soon-to-be, Binghamton Hockey Hall of Famer, Jerry D'Amico. Jerry, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on here again.
Yeah. So Jerry, you've had a very interesting career. You just decided last year to finally hang up the skates. Talk a little bit about the decision to do that, because I know for a lot of players that I've spoken to over the years who were thinking about it or who had done it, very tough decision. Talk about that decision for you. And, I'm sure it was a decision you had to talk about with your family as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you never want to quit the game you love, and it's not quitting. It's just turning the page on a new chapter of life. And, for me, I had my wife and 2 kids. We were playing in Europe for the past 7-8 years. And, it's just one of those things where do you really want to lug your kids and your wife along for another chapter, another country? And we both kind of sat down and said, all right, is this what we want to do? We tried it one more time, and I think the cards were played as they were and showed us that, it was time to hang up the skates. And, after 15 years, it was a great career. I had a lot of fun. And, at that time, the last couple of years, they were, not that I wasn't having fun. It was just seeming to be more like a job, and
right.
Wasn't what it used to be. And not to say, it wasn't fun, but some of the things that I had joys in, I didn't really have joys in anymore, and that family life really just kind of took into play. I love being around the kids, and I love to be a dad, and my love kind of switched from hockey to the family life of it.
Well, I have to ask, because I think we've talked about this in the past, at least maybe off record a little bit. Why the fire department and not the police department?
Well, I had a couple of guys I went to high school with. They said, a couple of years ago, they have a test that comes out every 4 years for the civil service test. And they said, you know what, Jerry, you never know what's going to happen in the future. Might as well just take the test, because if you don't take the test, then you can't get picked.
Right.
So, I just ended up taking it 4 years prior, and it's weird how things pan out, and, it lays out for you when you don't really expect it. I just got done playing December 20th, got home, and got home from a long flight. I was sick, came back, and Christmas came around. My wife's like, "Hey, you got some mail in the that I forgot to give to you." And it was from the fire department. It says, "Hey, you've been accepted. You have to turn this in before," I think it was like January 1st. And I'm like, "Oh boy, I got a couple days to do this." So, it's just one of those things I kind of did, not thinking anything of it. And, the path that, God creates for you and unexpected things. This is one of those things where it just was laid out in front of me and seemed like the right fit. And because, to answer your question about the police or the fire, I just kind of always gravitated towards the fire department because I had past players that I played with in Toronto become firemen. Talking with them, they enjoyed the career after hockey and said it was just like being in the hockey locker room.
Well, because you have family that were law enforcement, if I remember correctly. So it is something that is definitely in your family line and whatnot. But it's also goes back to wanting to serve the community, right? And that's just something else that's a part of your family line as well.
Exactly. I don't think I had any law enforcement in my background, but just for me in general, I always thought in my career I did stuff and things to pursue my dream in my career. And I think this part of my life, I wanted to give back and really serve others and serve the community because, at the end of the day, that's what we're supposed to do as human beings to be helpful. And this is just the way to do it. And, I'm already finding that out with the fire department and, how we can help the people in this community and in their daily lives as they go through problems and struggles in their life.
You're one of the most decorated players to come out of Binghamton, New York. You and Mike Dunham, obviously. You'll be joining Mike Dunham, someone who did not play pro hockey here in Binghamton, joining the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame. I think you guys were both born in Johnson City, if I remember correctly. If I got that right. Yep. How cool is that for you? Because you probably grew up seeing him and playing, to be able to now join him in that kind of same ranks here in Binghamton.
Yeah, I mean, you always look at when you're younger who made it from your area, who is the dream attainable from where you're from and what area you live in. And that was just one of those things where you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, he did it. There's no excuse that I can't. And I think that's what I want to bring to anything that I have to some of these kids growing up. And I hope I'm that person that they could look to. But to be in the presence of, people like that in the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame is an honor. It's great to have that, to see my career go from the 15 years professionally to now, getting these awards is awesome. And makes me look back and know I had an impact in a good way, for my career, for my family, my community.
What do you remember about being a Binghamton junior senator, right? Because you were a younger guy at the time and obviously, playing here locally and sometimes playing probably on the Visions ice, but also playing on other ice in the area. What was it like to be a Binghamton junior senator?
It was awesome. I mean, I grew up running these rink hallways, watching the Senators, watching the Icemen, watching the Rangers, and to have that logo on your crest, to play with your friends, to play hockey was just a passion and a love that you just can't explain. And you always, as a hockey player, you wish you can go back to those times because there's no care, there was no stress. You just got out there and you played the game that you loved, and you went out for practices. You look forward for the games on the weekend. And, those are the times that, you miss. And to be able to have a team like the Senators to go to the games, to watch guys like Jason Spezza during the lockout, Antoine Vermette, those guys, you look and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to play and hope to make that level at some point. So it was cool to be in that program. Also awesome to have, a professional team to look up to watch.
Did they mentor? Did they mentor you guys at all a little bit?
There was a couple events that we went to, like the spaghetti dinner. There was things where we got to see him in the locker room, autographs. A couple of times they came to our practices. So that was pretty cool to have them incorporated in the STHA at the time.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. What about the U.S. national team? How hard is it to kind of make the U.S. national teams?
I mean, it's a process. There's a lot of scouting. There's a lot of camps you have to go to, the summer camps. So at that time, I didn't really have it on my radar until traction started to happen with, okay, you made the 40 camp, which the 40 camp is the best 40 kids of your age group. You go and have a 3-day camp where you play against them, and then they pick their final roster from there. I didn't even know about the NTDP until I think I was 14, 15. You kind of hear about it, but you never think it's attainable until, they actually call you, make the 40 camp, and then you end up making the team, and you're like, okay, what is this about? And then you get the whole rundown. You go to Ann Arbor, you're there for 2 years, you play international, you play college teams your U18 year. You get drafted after that, hopefully. You play in the NHL, you look at the wall when we were in Ann Arbor at the Cube, they had the wall of people who made it to the NHL. And, to be able to go down that hallway and see the goals that you wanted to attain, you wanted to play in the NHL, it's possible, you made it to that team, pretty much the best team for the U.S. Of your age group at that time. You're one of a select few. It's just an awesome feeling. It's crazy to think that I didn't really know about it, until it came time for me to actually do it. And then to make the team and have an impact on the team was awesome and great for my career and my development.
Do you appreciate it more now today as we're talking than you maybe did in the moment?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the year before that, playing juniors, we practiced, I think, 2 to 3 times a week, had 2 games on the weekend. Gym time was optional. And there, you go there, you're going to school, you're practicing every day, you're working out every day, you're playing a bunch of meaningful games. And not to say juniors wasn't meaningful, but I just mean, you're playing international games, you're playing those games in a junior league, in the NA. Things like that, you just look back and you're like, wow, that was great for my development. You had the nutritionist, you had the trainer, you had, the sports psychologist, you had the 2 coaches, a video coach. You just had a lot of people in your corner trying to develop your game and to make you a better, athlete and a better human being. And, from that, you just build great friendships with guys on the team. You're around them 24/7 pretty much. With that, you can't beat it. And those times, I even talk about some, my best friend who I played on the team with. We talk about those times, and sometimes we wish we weren't there of how hard the days were. You don't want to go back to those days of just some of the bus rides and the games we played in, and the crazy workouts that we had to do. It was a fun time of our lives.
Do you remember the first time you came to Binghamton as a Toronto Marley and played on the ice here in Binghamton?
I do. It was actually funny during the national anthem. We had a Jerry D'Amigo fan section. I believe it was section like 10 or 11.
Yeah, it was over in that. It was over in that corner on the press box side. I remember them there. Yes.
Yeah, they put out the little poster that they had during the national anthem, and I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be fun. They auctioned off my jersey. Yeah, I had my buddy. He did one of those like intermission games that they had, so it was like it was a crazy thing, and I was glad to play here. I was glad to have my family in the stands, and I always wanted to play back here. Whether it was against or for the team that was here, but it was awesome to have that experience and to come back here a couple more times was cool too.
Yeah, because you had junior moments. You got your first NHL game. You played for RPI. You played for the Kitchener Rangers, which to me is, that classic jersey that the New York Rangers boast. They have that same jersey there. You've had some great moments, but I got to imagine that that first game playing in Binghamton, because you know this rink just as well as anybody else, and you've made it as far as you had. I have to imagine it was just that special moment skating on that ice, because it's not ice that you were unfamiliar with.
Yeah, and too, like, you know, I told you before earlier, that's, you know, you walk these halls here, you sit in those seats as a kid, and you always wish that you're on the ice playing the game, and then boom, you know, years later, you're the guy on the ice playing the game, and to that is, you know, pretty much a dream come true for any kid, to be on the other side of the glass, to have people watch you, to have family watch you, to have friends watch you, to just be able to come 10 minutes down the street and watch a game instead of, you know, watching on TV. You know, a lot of times during my career, you know, like you said, I'm always away. I was in Kitchener. I was in, you know, Ann Arbor. I was in Troy, New York. All these places were not home, and family does not travel unless they are super fans for you, which my parents were. They came to every college game they could in Troy. But, you know, for them to be able to make the game instead of watching it through a TV and to have that experience and to see all them here is just something that, you know, you look back on and say, wow, that was awesome to have.
Jerry, before we talk about your relationship with Brant Sherwood, the Binghamton Black Bears, and what you're doing with them and helping them now, I have to ask you the most controversial question I'm going to ask you. You unfortunately played for the enemy, the Rochester Americans. You know the storied rivalry that Binghamton has always had with Rochester. Was that a weird feeling putting that uniform on, or was it just another part of the day in the career of your pro career?
It was just another day. I mean, for me, I never had that. Like I was with Rochester for the year and a half that I was, and you know, I was drafted by Toronto, so our rivalry was the Canadians, Hamilton Bulldogs when they were there. So that was like my rivalry when you played them 12 times, and there was a brawl each game. You know, those things were the rivalries that I grew up on, or not grew up on, but played in. Yeah. And for me to come to Rochester, I didn't really see that until the time that we actually traded. They had that big trade with Veroni.
Yes.
Yeah, and they took took my roommate. He was my roommate. They traded for him for, I think it was Eric Odell. And a couple other guys. So that was a little different. But at that time, I don't think we were even making playoffs, either team. So it was more or less, you're just pissed at the ownership or the GMs for making the trade. And I was mad because I wasn't in that trade. So it's like, hey, do I have the opportunity to go back home and play and get traded to Ottawa and play in Binghamton? I could have, but I guess it just wasn't in the cards.
That would have been very, very cool if that would have happened. But you did wear the A for the Americans. So obviously that year you took on a leadership role, which is kind of something that you're doing now here in Binghamton. Can you talk to the fans a little bit about what your role is with the Black Bears? I know it's a very limited role, but you are working with players and with the team a little bit here this season.
Yeah, so basically it just kind of happened. You know, as I said, worked for the fire department. My station is Engine 1 on Conklin, and the rink is right on the way after I get done at 8:00 in the morning. So when I had time, I would just always stop through, say hi to Brant, see how everything was going, because prior to, I would always come out before my season, going to Europe. Me and Q would come here and skate and practice with the guys. So we had that relationship with Brant, and he always gave us that option to come here and skate and to be able to get on with the guys. So that was always helpful. So, you know, for me to come by, and then at some point, he was like, hey, like, would you just want to come here and make it official to be able to stay here for practice and come on the ice with us? And from there basically was a very easy yes. And what happened from there was just, hey, come when you can, be a guy that the guys can look to you, ask questions, you know, critique them if need be. You know, I'm basically a guy who can look at a play or a player and see a couple things that they're doing either well or can be improved on, and just give them, you know, my advice, how it worked for me when I played, or something that they can just try to make them a better hockey player. And that's my role with them. It's not to do X's and O's. It's just to help out Brant and these guys to become better hockey players and a better team, and make it when I can, to be on the ice with them, like I'm going on today with them. And, just to be around, to talk with them, to hopefully brighten their day a little bit, not yell at them, and be a player's coach where they can look to me for advice and have that experience that they know I can give them something good.
All right, Jerry, let me ask you this question, because I know Q is going to listen to this, and I'm probably going to ask him this tomorrow when I'm at practice. Jerry D'Amigo versus John Quenneville, who wins one-on-one?
I think Q right now, because he's younger. He's got those young legs. He might have me. But I don't know. In the corners, a nice battle drill. I think I might have him on that. But nice. I always liked playing with Q on here, and we always kind of teamed up because everybody, we were trying to build towards something. And when the guys were done with practice, we would go down and shoot and have our little thing. So. It was never really a competition or a battle, and he always made it good and fun when we were out there together.
Hockey players are just too nice to each other. Even the American players are just too nice. Because Kyle Steffen is one of the nicest Canadians I've ever met in my life, and I've met a lot through doing this show. And Kyle Steffen is so very nice, and then he gets on the ice, and he even said to me last week, and he goes, well, I'm on the third line. I have to be an asshole. I have to be mean. I have to be angry. Right. And it's so funny though, but off the ice, he's one of the nicest guys there. Jerry, I want to ask you a couple more questions. One of them is about, Binghamton now being a single A market versus being the AHL. Yet we have you and John Quenneville, who have made it to the NHL here, helping this market still grow, its fan base still be a viable market for minor league hockey. Do you understand and maybe even accept the kind of how you guys are helping to keep hockey so strong and so alive in an area? Because I know Quenneville, he loves it here. He married his girls. His wife is from here, and it's important for him to be here to start his coaching career. How do you understand the impact of you guys coming back and giving back to the hockey community here in Binghamton, even though we are still single A versus what we used to be?
I mean, of course, anytime that you can be involved with your community, with your team, I think is a positive. And for us, we didn't start anything with the Black Bears. We just came in as the train was moving, and what Brant has done here is makes it easier for Q and I to come in here and just kind of give our input. We're just helping to oil the machine that's already been running for a couple of years now. And, for the youth things, is something I'm trying to get involved with more with next year. So, things like that are things like I mentioned before, of just giving back to what you've, had in the past in a good way, to keep it going in the right direction. And I think if we could do that as ex-players, and go into our next career path or our next chapter of life and have that impact last, and like I said, go in the right direction and not in the wrong one, I think that's a great way for us to make a difference and to help an organization and help a team and or a community and youth program grow.
Perfect. Now, you have two little ones. Are they on skates yet?
My son has been on skates. My daughter is not there yet, but he's going to be learning to skate next year. He's already on me to get him the gear and everything. So he's ready to go, and I'm ready to be his coach and his biggest supporter. So I'm looking forward. So
we might have another NHL. We might have like a second generation NHLer D'Amigo out there. Maybe we'll see. I'm hoping there's going to be no pressure on him if he wants to be and have the goals to be that NHL player. I'm going to help him the best I can and give him all the tips and tricks that I use, and hopefully a little more. I know. So Yeah, no, I know you need to get back out on the ice this Friday. You're going to be inducted into the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame. How special is that for not just you, but also your family? Because I got, family has always been one of the biggest drivers for hockey players to get where they are. How important is it? How special is it for you and for your family?
Well, if you just take a look at like parents in general of what they do to sacrifice for their kids to play this game. I mean, it's not a sport that is cheap, and you pay for travel. And they make a lot of sacrifices to do so on all the practices, early mornings, late nights, training. They just get to experience and enjoy that with you for the night, and know that hard work paid off, and know that, all the hard work, all the effort that they put into it, paid off to their son's goal and dreams coming true, and getting rewarded for it is something that they can enjoy as well. I mean, this induction is not only for me, it's for them. It's for my wife and kids, always coming in and traveling with me to these countries that they've never heard about before, never wanted to live in, but they got to live in them now. Mm-hmm. So for this award is just something that I can enjoy with them. It's not just for me, it's for them as well.
Awesome. He is Jerry D'Amigo. He will be inducted into the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame. Jerry, thank you for allowing me to interview you 6 games into your pro career, and now here before you get inducted into the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame. It really does mean a lot to me.
Awesome. Glad I got to be on here again. It was a pleasure.
All right, and we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. I feel like it is 2011, 2012 all over again, and I was producing 3-hour shows back then, and who knows, we might get there again now, but maybe not. I don't know. Either way. So the first thing you heard was 6 more questions with Emerson Emery, which we think was really 5. We think we shorted him a question, but he's already answered the traditional 6 more questions. So Taylor came up with 5 others of her own. I think she came up with 6, maybe even 10, but she decided just to roll with the punches and do Taylor's version of 6 more questions, which was actually 5 more questions. But that's what you get when we're just like going off script and kind of crazy like that. So, but then you heard, of course, from, I don't know who was on the show, Cole Parenti, and then, of course, then Jerry D'Amigo. So those were the 3 interviews you probably just struggled to get through. And now Bob is talking out of his butt right now. Either way, good job on the 6 more questions and the Emerson Emery interview just in general. Taylor, you did a good job on your second one. That was awesome.
Yeah, I hope everybody likes the questions. I hope they were fun. I think Emerson had some fun times with those. I think he liked a couple of them. There were some good discussions going back and forth, and definitely the whole, I think this was actually in the interview, but the whole superstition thing was,
I don't know what you're talking about. Whatever.
On my end. I really enjoyed your reaction to that.
No.
And to see that in person, hysterical. Like, I almost wish I had a video of you, like, your reaction to that. It kind of reminds me of like the Tully show when it was it Shanko, whoever, no, it was Brant, when he said meat rocket and Brooks had that look on his face. That's what I thought of when he made the face when he was like, I'm just a little stitious.
By the way.
Yeah, I hope the questions were a lot of fun, and I hope everybody enjoys them, even though I did mess up on my end, and I had like 7 or 8 questions lined up, and I skipped over the one, and then I think I only read 5.
By the way,
so that's what happens when you give me homework to do, like, I don't know, half an hour before I'm supposed to talk to this person.
By the way, Meat Rocket was not allowed as the nickname on the back of the jersey. Yeah,
I heard that Shankar really wanted that, but they told him no. Well, they wanted it for Holy, but they were told no.
But why was it okay to then have Ramrod. Because Ramrod sounds just as like, I don't know, naughty as meat.
No, that just 100%. The second we saw that, it just made us think of Super Troopers.
Okay, maybe that's what it is. But my horribly dirty in the gutter mind thought something completely different. But
hearing the cheese story was fun.
Yeah.
Hoenn getting Iceman was probably
beautiful.
I had a lot of good ones that I really enjoyed, but Iceman was definitely my favorite. I'm a huge Val Kilmer fan, so
if you
that was and to hear that his brother's name is Maverick definitely topped that one for me.
If you are a person who works for the Binghamton Black Bears, please mute right now. Don't listen to this part. But I did offer Hoenn $500 to take the Iceman jersey off his hands without going through the auction, and. He might have almost taken that. I think we were both really serious, but then I did not pull the trigger, and then it sold for $550, which I'm pretty sure So they probably would have come looking for him, and then he would have like pointed to me, and it would have been really, really bad. But I really wanted that Iceman jersey. So, but that's neither here or there. By the way, here's the part about the stitches that Taylor's talking about.
I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
So that's the thing that I don't know from The Office, but now I know it, and I love Carell. So
which to go on that point just a little bit more. The jersey auction, when we saw Shane Carr's dad towards the end, and I asked him if he had any superstitions, he said the same thing, which I thought was priceless. I don't know if he did it because of the show or if he actually truly meant it, but it was priceless. I was so happy that he said that.
Yeah, well, people listen, and I appreciate you guys listening, even when I do make a fool out of myself, which I try to do at least once an episode, maybe twice, just to make everybody laugh and have a good time. All right, support the Power Play Post Show by subscribing on YouTube. When you subscribe and like episodes, it signals to YouTube that hockey fans are engaging, which helps recommend the show to more viewers. As our community grows, we're able to deliver more interviews, insights, and hockey discussions. Subscribing and liking is the most effective and completely free way to support the show. Join fellow hockey fans and subscribe on YouTube today. And we are developing a 30-minute show that I think all of you guys are going to really enjoy, and you're kind of hearing them a little bit. We're going to try to cut some of the audio 30-minute segments that like we did earlier at the beginning of the show and really make that and turn that into our YouTube show that you guys are going to hear about. More discussion, good times, fun, maybe even making a fool out of Bob a little bit. Now, Taylor, Saturday night, the Black Bears did go up to Watertown to play their final game in Watertown of this season. Before we start into this, I want to say Jeff Barrett, who's been a guest here on the Power Play Post Show. He's the broadcaster up there, very spirited, very fun, very energetic broadcaster that he is. He's retiring. So Saturday night was his final game. And I just want to wish him well and happy retirement. He is such a great guy, loves motorcycles and racing, actually calls races or did call races up there in the Watertown area as well. So a lot in common with you and Jeremy in that sense. And I love rock. I watch racing too. But really, really good guy. He's also a motorcycle guy. Was in Florida about a month ago when I asked him to come on the show. And he's like, yeah, I'm not coming on the show. I'm in Florida on a bike. It's like, sorry. And I'm like, no, I get it. Totally cool. But I wanted to wish him well on that. And that's pretty much it. Let's get into this game just a little bit because I know there's a couple things you do want to talk about this game. But let's go through the numbers first because we're not going to go period by period on this. We're just going to give you some of the numbers because the Black Bears did win and they won heavy and hard.
Yeah, I was saying, when we were at commercial that I don't think the fans needed to hear, the in-depth details of Watertown for the, 17th time
exactly
of this season because it pretty much it sounds like repeat at this point. Black Bears offense explodes up in Watertown, win 9-1. Zach Sirota scored his 17th and 18th goals of the season. Kyle Steffen scored his 10th goal of the season and assisted on 3 for a 4-point night. Matt Jansen scored his 32nd goal of the season and assisted on 2 goals for a 3-point night. Ivan Bondarenko scored his 19th goal of the season and assisted on 2 goals for a 3-point night. Nick Swain scored his 18th goal of the season and assisted on 2 others for a 2-point night. Garrett Sargis scored his 16th goal of the season and assisted on another for a 2-point night. Scott Romakers scored his 16th goal of the season and assisted on another for a 2-point night. Emerson Emery scored his 4th goal of the season. Dan Weber assisted on 2 goals for a 2-point night. Connor McAnanimo saved 36 of 37 shots, winning his 13th game of the season and improving his record to 13-2-0. With the win, the Black Bears record improves to 46-6-2 with 137 points.
Now, are you telling me that we have 2 goaltenders that if you added up their win totals to 40, we have a goalie problem?
Apparently.
Wow.
But we're too focused on results. That's the problem. Yeah, we can't be looking at these results over here.
What should we be concerned about? I'm trying to figure that out. What should we be concerned about? You know what?
I got it. I know what we're concerned about is that Dominic is a Russian spy.
Oh, he definitely is. First of all, okay. So, all right. Yeah. Wolves, blah, blah, blah. We beat them 9-1. Great. All right. So the nicknames on the back of the jerseys on Friday night, what'd you think? Great? Fun? Do it every year?
It was definitely awesome. I know, like, everybody was, like, thought that Sorota's was going to be the highest. And my favorite part about that night, because I never, when I started taking the notes for these jersey auctions, because I know a couple fans used to ask about how they went and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was doing it for that purpose. And I never thought, like, a lot of the players, when they came off the ice last night, were asking me about, like, how so-and-so's went. And my favorite part about that night is when Dom came off the ice and he goes, and how much did Shankar's go for? And we were like, he was 3rd tonight. And he was like, yeah, and he did the whole suck it motion, and it was by far my favorite moment this year, I think, was the way that Dom reacted to that, because he has been waiting for this moment to finally beat Shankar in the jersey auction, and he finally did it, and his name's not even on the back of it.
Yeah, he yelled, suck it, Shankar, and I love it, or suck it, Shanks. It was great. It was pretty awesome. So that was fun. What was your favorite nickname on the back of a jersey? Did I ask you that?
It was originally Lieutenant Dan.
I love that.
Which, when we were listening to the game and Brooks said that he's the people's president in Whitney Point, and Jeremy and I lost it because we live in Whitney Point, and it was just hysterical. And then we were really hoping, because they were talking about how they put an A on Jansen, Stubbs, and Weebs.
Yep.
And we were like really hoping that they put PC for players coach, because that's what's on his jersey for practice.
Yeah.
So we were kind of hoping they did that just to be a little bit funny. So that was originally my favorite until I saw Hohen's jersey.
Yeah.
The Iceman one takes the cake for me, but that's just because I'm a huge Val Kilmer fan.
Yeah. I wasn't Gavin's Bombs-a-Waski.
Yep.
I love that. Because it was so long, I couldn't figure out what it was for the longest time. I really couldn't. I was like, what is on
it was 100% Bombs-a-Waski, and I remember looking at it several times, because again, like you said, it was so long that no matter how you looked at it, the jersey was folded in some way that you couldn't see the whole name. You had to wait like several times. I was trying to take a picture at one point. You only caught bits and pieces of it.
I love that. I obviously love the Iceman, because Top Gun is a great movie, and that was amazing. Dominator was so fitting for Dominic Tomei for this season. There was a lot of really good ones out there. I just, the rat, cheese, hearing the story about the cheese. Nick had no choice in that. I'll be honest with you, folks. He had no choice in that name. It was something he did at the beginning of the season that his nickname is now the cheese. And of course, when the cheese and the rat are on the ice together, that would have been hilarious. I don't know if it happened too many times when they were both on the ice together. It was a great thing. Listen, I hope they do it every single Hall of Fame night. Why not? I think it would be amazing. It puts a really nice spin on the night and the jersey that they're wearing, and you just get a really fun one there. So I thought that was pretty cool. So, and the jersey auction went well. What'd you think of the jersey itself, though? 5th anniversary jersey.
I liked it. It's kind of, I thought it was fitting because it kind of kept the theme. I like that they had the 2 cups on it and stuff like that. It definitely, it felt like familiar, because it was similar colors, similar kind of style and everything like that, but it was different enough, and it kind of like showcased the history, the 5 years, all of that. And Another thing that I want to talk about is the video they did.
Yeah.
Was phenomenal. It had me complete. And I haven't been here for the entire 5 years. I've been here for 3.
Yeah.
Following the Black Bears. And the first year was on and off. I wasn't here for the full season.
Right.
But that video, to see some of the players, to see some of the things happening, it definitely, I had goosebumps. I had all the feels. I made me miss a lot of these players.
Yeah.
And then to see some of the videos from some of the players that couldn't be there, like Boylard was one of them. And Bond, definitely, it was so lovely to see him.
Yep.
So that was so nice to kind of have that. They did a great job with that video. I know a bunch of other people, even people that weren't at the game were hoping that they posted it somewhere because they just wanted to be able to watch it.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. It truly was a phenomenal video, and it was done so well.
It really was. And the great thing about having, the 5 or 6 or 7 guys that were down on the ice for the puck drop, they were there. That was very cool. Fitzy came up, gave him a big hug. He's a really super nice guy. He's still trying to petition to get his jersey, hung up in the rafters.
Retired.
Yeah, he wants his number retired and his jersey hanging up from the rafters. I think we should just hang it up in the rafters anyways. Just grab one of his jerseys and throw it up there. I think that would be hilarious, especially the next time he comes back. But it was great seeing him. It was a great night. Very, very cool. All right, let's get back to the Watertown Wolves for a second, because we did beat them 16 games out of 17 games this season. We were 16-1. At home, we were 4-0, and we were 12-1 away up in there. So goals for, this is the crazy set of numbers here, Taylor. We scored 109 goals against them in those 17 games. That was 6.41 goals per game. Goals against.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, compared to, we only gave up 40, which is a 2.35 goals allowed per game. Nuts. Crazy number there. The Black Bears earned 47 points in this series, and the Wolves only took 4 points of a possible 51 points. Insane. The Black Bears' only loss in the series was in Watertown, a 3-4 loss on January 2nd. And the Black Bears outshot the Wolves. I had to do this number because I do keep track of some of the extended stats like this. We outshot them 745 to 449. Almost 300 more shots than the Wolves this season on net. The Black Bears scored 28 power play goals and only allowed 9 power play goals to the Wolves, while each team scored a shorty against each other. Dominic Tomei, by the way, do you know who scored the shorty?
Yeah, it was Darian Benchik. Surprise, surprise.
Well, that was, yes, the one that he scored. Who scored the shorty for us?
Are you talking about for us? It was probably CJ Stubbs. He had the most.
It was not CJ Stubbs. It was actually Austin Thompson. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Dominic Tomei was 9-0 versus the Wolves, and C-Mac was 4-1, taking the only loss this season to their North Country rivals. CJ Stubbs had the most game-winning goals in the series with 3, which doesn't seem like a lot, but still.
It also doesn't seem surprising at all.
No.
I remember there was a stint there where Stubbs had the game-winning goal for several games in a row.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, Taylor, what's coming up?
You cut out I didn't hear what you just said.
I was just leading you into the next segment.
Oh, so coming up this next weekend, the final 2 games between the Danbury Hat Tricks, which Bobby has been trying to talk about all night, apparently. And the Black Bears.
Didn't mean to.
Black Bears traveled to Danbury on Friday for the final time this season. And at this current moment, our plan is to make it to this game.
Woohoo!
Mostly because we haven't really made, I think we've only been to Danbury once this season, which is really sad on our part. We kind of miss some of the people out there. Which, again, kind of a crazy thing to say, but Danbury's been good to us. And then we return home for the final game of the regular season against the Hat Tricks for Fan Appreciation Night and brand new Team Awards.
Yeah, they're going to do Team Awards. So that'd be very cool. And, of course, if you don't and haven't yet, please go to the Binghamton Black Bears social media pages. Find where you can vote on the fan favorite, which you guys will be able to That'll be announced before the game on Saturday night. So that'll be very cool. So we'll be starting a little late again next Saturday, but it only happens a couple times a year. Usually the Black Bears start right on time.
Yeah, and I mean, this past game, I was talking about it because I was like, we never start a game late, and we're like half an hour late. Then I looked, and our start time was 7:30, and I was like, I'm so used to our start times being 7:05 that I was, I'm not used to a 7:30 start time for us.
Yep.
But what's important this upcoming weekend? Tuning up the playoff roster, and Mason Hohen needs one more game to be eligible for the playoffs, which we've got 2 games left, so seems pretty good in his favor.
Yep.
All other college players have 5 games registered.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it this upcoming Thursday on the Power Play Post Show. I have what I'm hoping is going to be a pretty big interview that's going to be happening, and I'm not going to give any hints until I know I can do it. But I'm going to tell Taylor off air. So Taylor's going to know in about 5 minutes here who that person is. I've reached out to one person and kind of asked if this was a good idea, and we'll see if it actually does happen. I'm hoping so. But either way, we'll talk about this upcoming weekend and what this really means and how the Black Bears should handle going into these 2 games against Danbury. Danbury is out of the playoffs. And we're going to talk about, on this upcoming Thursday show, we're going to talk about the standings. We're going to talk about the playoffs, where things stand, right? Because honestly, if I talked about the playoffs a month ago, it's not set in stone. We don't know. And it's just going to be better. So this upcoming Thursday on the Power Play Post Show, not only will we talk about Danbury, we're going to talk about the playoffs. What could possibly happen? Are we flying out to Topeka? Those type of things will all be addressed this upcoming Thursday on the show. And I think I have what I'm hoping is going to be a really cool big guest for the show. So, and I think it'd be a great guest to end the regular season with. And I'm hoping that I can get him to do the 6 more questions too. So that's it, Taylor. Hopefully that is a nice enough tease for everyone. You think so?
I mean, you've already got me thinking about it, and you just told me you were going to tell me, but I'm already trying to figure out in my head who it possibly could be. So, yeah, I think you're going to have people interested. I'm sure they're going to be yanking at the bit, waiting for Thursday to come around, not only for the, player poster that happens, which we're finally caught up. For a couple of weeks there. It was hit or miss on, getting up to people, but, it's going to be a good one. I'm excited. And I don't even know who it is yet.
Yes, it's going to be good. All right. The Power Play Post Show is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Join the conversation on Facebook. Search Power Play Post Show and become part of our community. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey? Visit binghamtonhockey.net. Thank you to Rob Lapolis, our MC, John Petitucci, our musical director, and from the Binghamton Black Bears, Cole Parenti, and Binghamton Hockey Hall of Famer, Jerry D'Amigo. Folks,
and 5 to 6 more questions with Emerson Emery.
Yeah, we're not really sure. It was either 5, 6. There was some laughing going on, some jokes on me, that type of thing. And now the joke's on Taylor, because she couldn't answer 6, right? She couldn't live up to her promise of 6 more questions. But that's all right. That's right. I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And we'll talk to you guys next time right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Patitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.